What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the stream. We're going to hang out for just a little bit while people are hopping on in, but hope everyone's having a fantastic night. We have a lot on the menu for tonight. We are going to be starting off with a reaction video and then talk about the news that we had, throughout the day. There's been a lot going on, and there's a lot to discuss. But first, I do have my first guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, good sir.
Hey, it's Matt.
What's up, Matt?
Yep.
How we doing, Matt? So, Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yes. So, well, what do you want to know first off? What's the most important thing? But I guess the reason why we're hopping on is the video stuff that's been popping off. So I'm a native Minnesotan.
Native
This is where I
Minnesotan.
grew
This
up.
is good.
I love hockey as well. I'm a pretty big Minnesota Wild fan.
Is that's just
And
that's just what like you have to be a hockey player if you're in Minnesota. That's pretty much how it goes,
so
huh?
our high school state hockey games, they sell out the professional arenas
Hmm.
for over $100 a ticket.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if that shows like why Minnesota is called the hockey state, it's because they sell out like
Yeah,
literally high school games
that's
for
pretty.
pretty expensive tickets, and that's fun. That's
Yeah.
like some of the most fun hockey
Well, dude,
I
thanks
watch. So there
for.
you go. I'm
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so Minnesota native, and then making some YouTube content now, just about some starting off was actually very specifically about Minnesota related
Right.
issues. So
And
then, of course, we'll react to the Floyd Mayweather identifies as a woman,
and we're gonna
and
be
if he
talking about
did,
that
should he be able
tonight.
to?
We're gonna be
Yeah,
talking about that in depth tonight. And I do have one more guest here. And you guys, part of me with the transitions and everything, I am still we're kind of setting up some new transitions here. So there might be a little bit of I don't know some mistakes going on. But we do also have Lisa Reynolds with her. What is that?
Well,
What? What?
I would start saying, hi everybody.
Lisa, say
Good.
hi to everybody.
Hi to everybody except for Bigot Chicken.
Yeah,
That's fine.
right. Hi everybody, except for Bigot Chicken. Bigot, we saw you in the chat right away. Thanks for being in the chat, man. Thanks for being here as always. Lisa always talks smack to you. I like Bigot Chicken being here.
I
So
love Bigot Chicken. He's been mean lately, so whatever. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk about the new video since it's Pride Month. Yay!
yay.
Uh-huh.
Well, also, yeah. I mean, what does Bigot Chicken get a pass because his name's Bigot Chicken? I would imagine so. Anyways, audio. How does it sound, Nico? We're all sounding good. Excellent, you guys. Before we hop into this,
thanks.
I am going to shout out the locals community, jamesklug.locals.com. If you are watching this right now, a few things. Hit that like button to boost the video in the algorithm. Also, make sure you hit that bell notification button if you're a subscriber, mainly because I'm trying to get that number up. We're kind of low. I'm not asking for it enough, so I need to start asking for it. Hit that bell notification button, please. Also, link down below in the description for socials, Matt's YouTube channel, and my locals community. So go sign up over there. It's free with the option of contributing monthly for as little as $5 a month. So I'm gonna bring the team back in here in a second, but basically, you guys, if you guys have watched the videos recently, within the last month and a half or so, I reacted to a video that was can Floyd Mayweather box women if he identifies as female? Now, the reason why I brought Matt into this stream is because hold on, give me a second. Let me figure it out. Right. The reason why I brought Matt into this stream is because he's the person that did this video. This was his very first video that he posted on this channel on YouTube. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. And it absolutely
You're
took
right.
off. Yeah, okay, I got that right. So it absolutely took off over that. What does that say? 620,000 views on this video. Now, an amazing title, an amazing concept, and the responses are definitely shocking. Now we're not going to go through and react to the whole thing because I already did that. But we are going to take a few key takeaways and discuss them with the creator, as well as I wanted to talk to you, Matt, a little bit more about what's going on.
I think the audio is messed up on this one.
Oh, the audio's messed up?
So
Stand by, everybody. Technical difficulties. I did warn you about that. I think I said that. Pretty sure I did. Can everyone hear?
Oh, no, I think it's working.
It's working? Great. Okay. A little hiccup there. No problem. So, back to this. So before we hop into this video, Matt, I want to make sure I shout out your YouTube channel. You guys, link is in the description on this live stream. This is Matt's channel, and the reason I'm shouting him out, he's brand new, but the reason I'm shouting him out is because this video was so amazing. And we're going to talk about it in depth, as well as talk about some of the kind of responses that he got for this video when it came to how people reacted, him trying to get interviews with the senator after, and all that stuff. So go check out his channel. Go subscribe right now. Go support him. We need to be encouraging more people and uplifting more people that are making content like this, where it's really making people think. It's in direct opposition to this insane woke mob that does not want you to have open dialogue on college campuses or wherever, right? So go subscribe to him right now. I want to make sure we get Matt a handful of subscribers. But Mr. Matt, one second, let me figure this out. Mr. Matt, thanks for joining the stream tonight, man. I really appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah,
with us.
thanks as well, and thanks for your kind words.
Yeah,
in
man.
the beginning though. So all that is like very much so appreciated.
Dude, I was blown away by it.
It's been a roller coaster.
For sure. I was blown away by this video. Let's go ahead and just hop into reacting to some of the key parts that I wanted to take away from the video. And then we got to jump into a lot of other things, just about everything that happened after and whatnot, kind of where you are politically, etc., all that great stuff.
Let's do it.
Great. Let's do it.
I don't think it's like fair at that point. I think my perspective is a little different because I'm in sport. I play hockey, so like skating and stuff, like no way. They're automatically faster, stronger.
You're saying if he is who he is right now, and then tomorrow he decides.
And just decided I'm a woman, I'm in a box.
No.
You're no.
No.
Probably not.
I mean, I see both sides of the argument. He would kill someone.
This is okay. That's how I feel about.
I think like the physical strength obviously is very unfair, but I'm all about like trans rights and everything like that, and equality with like gender and everything. So that's why I kind of get sticky.
Okay, I love the right off the bat. I love well, I can see both sides of the argument. We're talking about the video topic is, can Floyd Mayweather box women if he identifies as female? And she's saying, well, in response to this, she's saying, well, I can see both sides. Matt, how many people did you run across? Maybe they had a friend group like this. And how many people were hesitant and more? Did you feel like people were giving you answers that they were like trying to shield themselves from the mob? Just like almost a safety net in a way? Because that's what that is right there. Nobody sees both sides of that argument.
So I guess so to respond to that, I think, to be honest, I don't know exactly for sure, because I can't step into someone's brain and read all of their mind, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell within some group interviews that I did whether if there was one person or a second person, if they just like they had more on their mind that they wanted to say, but one of their other friends was sort of like talking over them a little bit and kind of projecting their opinion a little bit more loudly.
Yeah.
In a group, it's really hard to know that for sure. So I can talk more about my personal experience with how I've dealt with like certain levels of blowback in my life, or what are the consequences or repercussions in speaking out more on, say, this topic, what's happened for me, so people can understand how much of this like mob mentality, how much of that is real versus how much of it seems like it's a pressure that people are afraid of. What might that look like in your life if you were to open up about this topic? So I think my personal experience would probably be better there, but I have no idea as far as like their friendships or who they have in their life. And like how much pressure they might face from someone. It might be different for different people, but there were a lot of times where it felt like I feel like you want to say more.
Well, the reason I asked that is because
kind of catering to all of the different peer interests and things like that.
Right. And the reason I asked that is, whenever I'm going out and doing videos, oftentimes you'll perhaps you need to do 100 of them to kind of get more of that sense of, yes, you're definitely holding something back here. And you're saying this just so if you do get in trouble, you can say, well, I said this, right? No, you weren't there arguing that people shouldn't have rights. You weren't there arguing any of that stuff. However, people throw that in just to make sure that they throw that in kind of as that little safety net. What the question is pretty straightforward, right? And the one girl's saying, well, no, he would kill somebody. It seems like a pretty reasonable take. He probably would. By the way, I had in the comments when I reacted the first time to this video, somebody was bringing up, he should have done Mike Tyson. And I was like,
As if it matters.
Did you? I know,
Yeah, as if
I
the
know.
difference, as if the difference between those two matters. But yeah.
An absurd question, just bringing it to that next level. Did you consider doing any other fighters, or was it Floyd Mayweather? Right away?
No, I didn't. But if it's okay, if I can, I'll talk a little bit about the behind the scenes from where this came from.
Please.
And why Minnesota? Why me? Why do I get involved with this to begin with? So, and I covered this in kind of a new video that I had as well. But I have some family who actually like are in politics in Minnesota. So I have an uncle who is a senator there. And so I was, through those conversations with him, I had a little bit of a behind the scenes look at some of the things that was going on. And there was one group that was called Gender Justice, and they're the group. Their special projects director is Erin May Quaid in Minnesota. She's a senator in Minnesota for the Democratic Party. And they were the ones who helped J.C. Cooper win the lawsuit against USA Powerlifting, which became this famous thing. There's lots of YouTubers that have done commentary videos on that, that topic as well. And they're very clear. The Gender Justice group was very clear that the ruling of that case opens the door for every single sports group in Minnesota to have to allow a biological male identifying as women to compete in women's sports. And that's it would be discrimination not to let someone compete. So USA Powerlifting had 14 days to change their policy. And right now, the case is also in limbo as far as what discriminatory damages they're going to have to pay out. So that's the legal case. But the verdict is in, and USA Powerlifting appealed it, at least the discriminatory damages part. So we'll see where it goes next. But I started making this content out of the gut instinct that it's not going to be overturned, and they're going to have to pay out cash to J.C. Cooper in this case. So that was what was going on. And I heard about this and was learning about this case. I was like, if this is opening the doors, how far could this go?
How far
let's
are
just
people
imagine
willing
a little
to
bit.
take it?
Let's just imagine how far can it go? and so I was like, what is the most extreme question that I think I can think of? Like that, like most people would just say like, nah, I just can't get behind that. And I was like, oh, combat sports is obviously like that.
Pretty serious.
There's a level of serious danger and a threat to it that's can be different. From even like if you're with lifting weights, for example, there's a different component to that. So like, let's do that, and let's just do a fighter who's like 50-0 and has never been like knocked down before. I believe I'm correct about that. Let's do something crazy like that and just see how people would take it.
Well, it's so interesting.
That's where it came out of.
It's so interesting. Like, you wanted to take it, like, how far can I take this, and how far are people willing to go at this time, right? Because things, generally speaking, tend to escalate. What's crazy now is less crazy in 5 years if they continue down this path. You chose something just absurd, and people still took the bait. People still said yes, absolutely. Some people did. Now, we haven't really talked about too much of that. I do want to go to this next clip because I want your reaction to this one as well, okay?
I believe so, yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Would that be like a fair fight?
I believe so, yes. I don't think that biology necessarily equates to someone's skill range.
Does that apply? I just want to show that bit. Does that apply to hockey? You mentioned you're an athlete. That girl that you spoke with looked like she played hockey. Is that just common sense? What's going on?
So here's the thing about biology, is it necessarily shows something about your skill range. It is true that someone could be a man and just terrible at sports.
For sure, 100%.
And someone can be a woman and be very athletic. Like me playing a WNBA player, I'd probably get my butt kicked and handed to be honest, with my training level. But what we're talking about is athletes at the highest level of training.
Yeah.
And so here's a good point as well, and this is one I brought up in my new video. The Atlantic published data as more, I think this was in the past year or whatever. The Atlantic, which is more left-leaning, supports candidates from the Democratic Party.
For sure.
They published data that showed a 10% gap in elite athletes and world record, the world record ratio between men and women. And this was like track and swim time events. And there's a 10% difference across the board.
Yeah.
And so if you would just, they publish that data, right? And they're bent, even when you read their article, you can almost see this little like, how do we frame this? And so the way that they talked about in the article is like, well, the gap has been closing over the past century or something like this. So our computer algorithm shows that, it's going to get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until they finally match.
For sure.
Right. And so they're going off of a computer algorithm to try to like show people that the numbers are closer than what they are. But when you're an athlete at that level, milliseconds matter.
For sure.
Right.
Sure. Absolutely.
And so the fact that there's a 10% difference across the board shows that the biological difference is a real thing. And even organizations that tend to lean more left aren't hiding that. They're very out in the open about it. And so that's where my belief is still that actually most people from the Liberal Party as well, or who would vote blue, actually don't agree with this, or they agree that there are real biological differences,
right.
And they would not agree with Floyd Mayweather, boxing against women. But I think there's some other issues that we can talk about. Maybe people feel afraid to speak up at some time, or they don't want to challenge their own party at times. But I still think most people believe that. And there's lots of like left-leaning organizations that are publishing data that show very much these real biological facts.
Of course. And
Yep.
it's funny that you mentioned that. Actually, today, I believe Rasmussen just released a poll showing the overwhelming majority of Americans don't even support this. And I think more people would answer in private, right? I think more people would answer in private that they don't support this than publicly, just because perhaps they're afraid of the pressure that they're it kind of blowing up in their face among their peers, specifically at a college campus or around that. For younger people, they don't want to deal with it. They'll just say, okay, fine, I'll get less flack if I say this, go with what these people are saying, and fine, I can fly under the radar and not get any trouble from people in my life.
Yeah, and I definitely saw that too, because like if you go back to the start of this video as well, that was the first thing I wanted to open with, because I ran into 3 or 4 times when I was doing these interviews, people just like, I don't want to answer.
I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one.
Felt like, to me, and from where I'm coming, this felt like a softball type of a question. It felt like one that I think most people would use common sense and be like, I don't want someone to die in the ring.
What's slower than a softball? I mean, this is like the weakest ball of anybody can hit this. This should be a home run for anybody. But actually, for the next people in the video, it's very clearly not. Now, you bring up Fallon Fox. Tied to this Mayweather question, you bring up Fallon Fox, who fractured a fighter's skull. And you kind of bring that up as an example of a potential consequence to Mayweather fighting a female. Let's check out these responses.
I don't know. Isn't it like boxing? It's just like dangerous overall.
Yeah, anybody could fracture someone's skull. I mean,
you can, but you have a much higher chance, I think, especially if you have like a biological advantage, like with your bone density, with your higher center of gravity, all the things that are advantaged by going through puberty. As being male, you take that with you into a fight. It sounds like you guys are all in agreement still.
Yeah. Are they not all being injured like that?
It's so.
I do wish my comment there when I reacted to it. I wish I had a longer list of things that I was able to rifle through. Obviously, I'm going off the top of my head, but
For
just
sure.
in terms of muscle mass, difference of estrogen and testosterone, muscle fiber types. As well, like there's a longer list of things that you can bring up too that would have even made my argument even stronger. But
lung
the point
capacity,
is still made.
Lung capacity, heart, bigger hands, feet. I mean, all of this.
The size difference, just like height, difference of height as well, which is of course attached to bone structure. Oh,
yeah.
If I can mention one thing real quick, is it okay to
go for it, man?
Keep going here. So another thing that prompted this video, the Lynx basketball coach of the WNBA, Cheryl Reeve. I don't know if I shared the article with you and we talked back and forth a little bit about that.
Yeah, I saw you send that to me.
So Gender Justice was responsible behind the collaboration of having Cheryl Reeve step out and support J.C. Cooper again and this whole fight to be able to allow biological males competing as women to compete in women's sports as to be inclusive.
Right.
And so Cheryl Reeve in that article said that trans women pose zero threat to the future of biological women's sports. Zero. I'm happy to be quoted on that. You can go read her article. And so I had noticed that, and there's what's so interesting is when we talk about these lists of biological differences, you can see that reflected in the data, even in WNBA versus NBA. Just the difference, right? I'm not here ripping on the level of training that's required to be at the elite level of WNBA.
For sure.
But we
These
can
women,
talk about
they
we
practice
can
their
talk about
whole
the
lives,
difference of
all day long.
yeah, we can. And so that should be respected, and that should have a high respect even coming from men too. And I have that kind of respect. But you have to talk frankly about the numbers, and you can't hide them. And the number of dunks in the NBA for regular season dunks in all history is 200,000, and the number in the WNBA is 30.
Yeah.
And so if that doesn't show something about explosive jumping ability or the height difference, which is a 6-inch difference is on average, and the fact that it's probably like 95% to 99% of pro players that dunk in the NBA, it's at least like on record 92% of players have dunked in a regular season game who are in the NBA, and you have like 7 WNBA players. If I'm correct about that, you can fact check me, but but I'm pretty sure those are on point. So that alone, you look at that, and how does someone like Cheryl Reeve, being a head coach of a women's team, how does that not get brought up in her article?
Yeah, I mean,
I've noticed this lack of people wanting to talk about the biological difference. They don't want to bring those things up, and so it all gets ignored and pushed to the side.
She understands it. She understands it for sure. She gets it. She just
James, I want
can't.
to jump in for a second because I want to say something, and I know that like this is your time here, but I just want to jump in on. One of the women said, you know, Mayweather as he is today, and you said, and Matt said in his video, like men that have gone through puberty, and we've got to be really careful though when we're talking about like men and women and male sports and stuff like that, to not to so much emphasize that male body changes come like even more after puberty, which it does. But when we go down that route, like what it does is encourages people to transition their kids before puberty. And we really want to like stay away from that, like 100%. Like I hear when I was investigating this stuff for Libs of TikTok, and we had a trans like runner in Washington State. They were really making the effort, like, okay, if you've transitioned or you started estrogen, or if you started transitioning before you hit puberty, and what that's doing is like moving the needle to transition these people earlier and earlier and earlier. So, I mean, obviously, if people go through the transition and they become male, they get all those benefits, but they still have thicker bone density and they still have bigger lung capacity and larger hearts, even if they've stunted their puberty. So I just want to make that clear real quick for everybody, because I think that when we're talking about these issues, we have to be careful that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and start making people trans their kids even younger. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess my initial response would be to that is like, I don't feel like I have a choice but to say what I have to say on this, because my goal in life has been to speak the truth.
No, I know that, but like,
right.
I think
so the truth on talking about the biological differences, whatever consequences come from that, I've decided in my life that I accept the consequences for what that produces.
My point is that there are still things that will be true that make it unfair for men to compete against women, even if they didn't go through puberty, is my point. So instead of just saying like, you know, even if they went through puberty, they still, even if they did hormone blockers and prevented puberty, there's still very real things that they can't change about being a man, even if they block their puberty, that would qualify, is my point.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
100%.
Right. I hear people talking about that a lot. And then I've seen like that turn into the case for transing the kids earlier. And that's really the scary.
Yeah. So one thing I'd be curious about,
maybe, sure.
maybe you could do a fact check as well. But I think the to add to your point there, I think the direction of I think this is like the international kind of the organization that oversees international sports. I think that was the direction that they were taking, is that if you had transitioned before the age of 12 or something like that would be appropriate. And so that does bring up the next conversation, which we may not get into on this particular podcast,
Yeah,
but the
we won't
dangers
jump
of
into all
hormone
that
blockers
today.
and all of that and things like that. And that's another thing that gender justice in Minnesota is pushing pretty aggressively. And Minnesota is now becoming a safe haven for that practice. And also like gender gender affirming health practices is becoming the norm, and not only the norm as well, it's also becoming a government mandate. And so the next lawsuits coming in Minnesota, I believe, will be against parents, where if you disagree with your child's pronouns, or if you don't want them to get hormone blockers, but that's what the state recommends, and medical health systems in the state recommend that for your kid, you might see your parental rights forfeited. Groups like Gender Justice have openly said on their podcasts that they're going to sue you. Yeah. They've talked about professors in school campuses that misgender people, and they're like, we are not going to allow this. This is not going to happen. I would encourage, like, if you want to go fact check me on that too, they've said that in one of the podcasts that I've watched, that if you're a professor and you misgender a student, we will sue you over that. We are coming for you. We're not going to allow that.
Obviously lunacy, and it's not where it's headed. It's already here, just not in every single state. Like Washington, they've already started going about that. Portland, they just introduced Oregon just introduced legislation that will allow minors to quote unquote transition their gender, hop on hormone blockers, all of this stuff before the age of 18 without parents' consent. So that's pretty much the direction that all this is headed in. But I do want to make sure, Lisa, fantastic point bringing that up. That's an excellent point, because yes, you don't want to just hammer down on that. It's wrong regardless. And this is not hey, just chemically castrate your child before puberty and that's all good. Don't worry about it. No, it's obviously wrong on so many levels. But for the purpose of this reaction, we'll stick on topic here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this a little bit, and then I wanted to talk to you, Matt, about the some of the reactions that you got to this video, got from this video when you were trying to get some interviews afterward. So I got like 20 more seconds on this clip, and then we'll jump into that.
Right? Are there?
So if everybody's being injured, it's fine then. If a man is fracturing a woman's skull.
Well, again, trans women are women, so it would be a woman. Do you think trans women are women?
No.
So I mean, that's where we disagree.
USA.
How? By the way, Matt, how was that girl? Was she cool after that? Did she walk away and she was friendly? She kind of seems friendly, but I could easily see that situation getting totally out of control. How was that?
Yeah, and people don't get to see the behind the scenes of all of that, but she was pretty busy that day too, so she did walk away, and she had her point to say, but we had a good chat for a while and everything like that. So the fact that she walked away or from the interview after saying that, I don't look at like in contempt or anything like that. They were, I didn't know if they're faculty or not at the school. I didn't get all the background information. They might have been. It's hard to say, but no, I didn't suspect any like foul play or again, it wasn't the type of aggressiveness that you might see in
No. I was just curious. I was just curious if
I don't know
how it went after that, but I could kind of tell like something was going on. So either she happily walked away or whatever. But I did want to talk to you, and Lisa's in here as well. Obviously, I'm having trouble with this screen with audio, but when it comes to I want to make sure we get this in. The state senator, Erin, how do you pronounce her last name? Erin Quaid?
Erin May Quaid. Yep.
Erin May Quaid. Okay, talk to us about you trying to get an interview with the state senator after she reviewed your video. Can you tell me a little bit about that for like 30 or 45 seconds?
Right, because my uncle is in politics. He actually just vouched for me. He just asked if she wanted to do it, and she said yes. So she agreed to like just have me ask a bunch of questions about JC Cooper and these other related topics in Minnesota. And then I wanted to be I didn't want to hide from her what I was doing. And so the email that I sent to her, I told her that, hey, this is where I'm coming from, and here's my channel, so that she could see that as well. And it's weird, like thinking that that was almost a mistake in terms of like, had she not known who I was, she would have had a better
Right,
chance of actually
right.
taking the interview. But like that just it didn't sit well for me to do that. But it's weird, like I almost like feel like I have to hide and just to get an interview going.
You should
But
have
yeah,
just bombarded her.
right, and just didn't know what I am. But like that didn't sit well with me. So
Yeah, I get it.
so I let her know all of that ahead of time, and then she looked at the content, and then it was after that she said she can't in good conscience. She couldn't in good conscience do an interview with me. So the conversation was closed, because I would have been open to like, hey, let's just do something with no selective editing. Maybe it's just like a full stream. There's no cuts or anything like
For
that,
sure.
in order to make it fair. Or even if it was like a public debate forum of something like this, I would have been open to a different format if she was worried about something like that. But there was no conversation there. It was just something triggered her conscience is what it appeared. I didn't know what it was because she never told me.
Dude,
But the interview is
I
the
gotta
interview
tell
is
you.
gone.
Good.
The interview was like, it was a no-go. So I can't, there's nothing I could do. But this is the crazy part, is like, I'm so, this is what drove me mad to begin with, is that the Star Tribune and a lot of our biggest Minnesota news networks, they were coming out full like in support of JC Cooper in the lawsuit. And that's why I wanted to do this, because it was like, maybe I can do some alternative news in Minnesota that's coming from a different angle and get some traction going. And I did. And it was like very successful. And I still can't be taken seriously enough to get an interview, even after doing a million views.
You know what's
like,
so
not
funny?
that it's the numbers, but like, it's like, I feel like I've earned it, but alas, I have not. So
Right.
You know what's
Lisa,
so
you had a
funny about
question?
that? Yeah, no, is that just happened with Matt Walsh tonight with his What is a Woman documentary, right? And he made a good point earlier today, talking somewhere, I forget where it was, but these people, they're always like, I want to be heard. I want to be heard, and we need to be seen. And that's why we have a whole gay pride LGBT month, right? Because they need to be seen and validated and heard. But then you let them talk, or you invite them to talk, and they won't. They won't, because they can't defend their position. They will never go up against anybody who questions their narrative, because they know that they sound absurd when they get pushback.
Right.
And that's why you're not going to get anything from any of those local news sources. And she's absolutely not going to ever speak to you. And she would just disregard. She wouldn't do any kind of open format from you, because you would ask her a simple question like, what is a woman? And she wouldn't be able to give you an actual answer. She'd look like a moron. So, they're never going, as much as they say they want to be heard and they want to be visible, and it's all about like them being seen and validated, they'll never actually go up and talk to somebody with an opposing view. I don't know if you're a conservative or what your actual views are, because you're just like, speaking truth really is all you're doing. You could totally be a conservative and have that point, but she won't in good faith do it, because they know that this is absolutely insane. She knows that it's insane.
It's an ideology that is absolutely 100% reliant on censorship, because exactly what you're talking about right there, Lisa, any bit of pressure and they just collapse into themselves like a dying star. That's why she rejected the meeting. That's why she rejected the interview with you, Matt, because she didn't want to talk about this. You had too many common sense questions, and probably, just by speaking with you right now, man, probably just very honest questions that you genuinely wanted to ask her, since she's so involved. You would think.
And so,
yeah.
And just to clarify, like even all of Erin Mayquade's ideas or policies or different things that she's involved with in Minnesota, I don't disagree with all the things that she's involved with either. And that's what I would like to tell her. That's what I'd like to tell her as well. Is like, I would have been happy to talk about other things too, and different conversations or things like that. I just, the dialogue was important for me. I think it's important for people like in Minnesota or other places to look into it, even if we do have different opinions going into the conversation, and we don't feel like that's going to change. For people on the outside looking in, to the conversations. That's very important as well. And Lisa, you asked a little bit, even like politically, where I'm at right now. I'll give the very short version of that. This is actually like one of the first years for me. I grew up in a very like conservative, right wing family background, is where I grew up in. However, this is one of the first years of my life where I have no idea what to do in terms of, if you thought about a presidential election, where my vote is going to be cast. And the main reason for me of where I'm coming from is related to one issue, which is the insider trading. One, I've been so appalled that neither side, Republican or Democrat, has been able to fix and adjust this issue in trading. Who is
You have
the president?
Matt Gaetz and AOC that was actually working on that.
Right. So like, it hasn't been fixed, and it should be the thing that's a no-brainer collaborative effort, because I've talked to every single one of my friends who comes from a different political aisle. They all agree that insider trading is bad. And so we know that the Republicans and Democrats on both sides know that it's bad, but it hasn't been fixed. And so the accountability is a big problem, seemingly, in the national political game. And so until that gets adjusted, I am very, very hesitant to put my boots in one camp or the other. And so you could try to refine the party from the inside out, or you pick like an independent party to go with or something like that. But to be honest, this is kind of an exploratory season for me, where I'm asking a lot of more sort of probing questions, even about my own views and my own beliefs,
Totally.
and trying to approach them more so by topic, rather than just following what one party or the other wants me to get behind and believe on certain issues.
That last bit that you're talking about right there is absolutely, I think, 100% okay. I don't know if single issue vote for the insider trading is necessarily the biggest one, but I would say absolutely take it topic by topic and really decide for yourself. I think that's the best way to go about it.
And it might not be for you, but for me, it's about transparency and accountability, and for people being there for the right reasons.
Totally.
Well,
Absolutely.
government in general.
Money in their pockets. Yeah.
You're never going to get full transparency in government, and no matter what you do, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, and so whoever's at the top is always going to be lying and insider trading and doing all of those things. I mean, there already are laws on the books, and especially with Congress and insider trading, and they don't hold them accountable now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is, but there's also a lot of bigger issues like our currency and our dollar and things like that, that none of that will matter. The insider trading won't matter if we turn into Venezuela. So it's a good time to explore and to think. And
it's things like insider trading that create places like Venezuela. Corruption tends to create inequality in places that I visit in the world, and I've seen a lot of that firsthand in Brazil and Venezuela as well. So I was only in Venezuela for like one day and stuff like that. But I think corruption anywhere where it bleeds, if we can do something about it and dream a little bit bigger, a little bit outside, I think we'd both agree. Yeah.
Get rid of corruption. But I think that right now, if we don't fix the way our economy is going, no amount of corruption is going to matter. Like we have to fix what's going to go on. Like we are very much like, you think that it's bad now when eggs are $8 a piece and, everybody's struggling to live. There's new reports out that, we've gone from people using 2% of their credit cards to survive to now 8%. And like, we are in a lot of trouble financially. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that. But
yeah, it's okay to,
yeah, but I'm just saying, it's careful. And I'm not saying that like I didn't ask you because I cared. I was just saying like you're a kid and I couldn't tell which side you were on. Yep. And so she probably didn't know which side you were on either, but she knew that you were going to ask her a tough question, and therefore she was acting in bad faith for you. And I think that's really sad for.
Correct. That's the point. She may lose someone who's actually a lot more sympathetic to a lot of the other ideas or policies she sees behind without realizing it.
Correct.
So that doing a video like this paints me up sometimes as more of a conservative, more of a Republican than maybe people expect. Maybe or people expect me to be more like that, and it might not actually be true. unless you had conversations with me about a lot of other topics.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah,
I think one of the silliest things about this whole topic too is that it does paint you as a more conservative person, which is the most absurd thing ever. This is not a conservative issue. Saying that Floyd Mayweather can't box women is not a conservative thing to say. That's just you just being a sane person, right? And it's actually I think the media is painted that way, politicians have painted that way. This is not a right or left issue in my opinion. It's just for some reason being painted that way. But you guys, I do have to move on to shouting out. I do have to move on to shouting out Matt's channel. You guys, make sure. Matt's obviously somebody that's looking to have open conversations, whether he be left or right or on whatever issues, he's willing to have them. And so we want to make sure that we're encouraging people to be subscribing to these channels where people are actually willing to go out there and talk about stuff that people are afraid to talk about. We need more people like Matt doing stuff like this. So hit that link down in the description below. It's right at the top, I believe, and you'll have a link directly to his channel. Go subscribe right now. Mr. Matt, any final words before I
will give my last one would be here. Like we'll see how the YouTube stuff goes for me. Right now I'm in a different country, so I haven't been able to do interview street based stuff right now. So I've been doing some reaction stuff here and there.
Be patient with them, you guys.
That's one thing that I'd say. But the other thing I'd say is increasingly the number one reason why I've been working on these YouTube videos is the comments. So I've realized that I think one of the best advantages I have for making YouTube videos is the questions that people ask in the comment thread, which helps shape what I create, what I make, and how I think about things differently. So I'm usually pretty active there and like talking with people and answering the questions, and also like taking the questions that people have seriously as well. And so that's the main advantage for me is it helps me evolve my thinking over time as well. And what areas I pursue as far as just where truth is going to speak the loudest, and at times might surprise me in that journey. So I'm open to those surprises as well. And so that's like increasingly become one of my favorite things about the channel is like there's a lot of great people out there who are very intelligent, who are nudging me forward in a lot of places that I really appreciate.
Yeah, it's really people on the internet, like in the comments and everything, it's more impressive than people would expect. You can start to meet and just speak with people that have fantastic ideas in the comments that can really shape future videos and everything like that. I always reach out to the audience just asking what they want to see people talk about on the street, or me talk about with people on the street, just because people do offer a lot of really interesting things that you might not know yourself. You're like, oh, okay, that's a really interesting point. I'm going to think about that. And it can turn into content down the road. So I love that you're reading the comments, though. That's with 620,000 views on one video, on your first video, you're not too cool for comments. So good on you, man. Matt, I will say a
couple of people have already subbed to him.
Yes.
To put it in everybody knows I pay attention wildly to the chat, and a couple of people are like sub to Matt. So
again, we'll see where it goes. So and what I can handle. I will tell people that I'm a video editor by day. So I also work with Nick from Indigo Traveler is actually happening like this next couple of weeks. This is more of a personal thing, and he is the real deal. So another channel, if I could say something here that people should check out, would be Indigo Traveler and some of his travel journalism projects and how he supports different guides in different countries that he takes with. He is the same person that he is off camera, and I'm working with him directly as an editor. And so that's a big chunk of my time too. And I'm very like committed to that right now in this season. So that might prohibit me from doing some growth on the channel stuff too. But he's somebody that I really, really respect a lot. So awesome. He's a good one too.
I'll after the stream, I'll put his link down below because I've seen his work.
Perfect.
And it's really amazing. So you're doing good work with him. Well, Mr. Matt, I really appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
What time is it over there, man? Thank you so much for taking the time out of your night for hopping on.
4 a.m. man. 4 a.m. and we're rocking. But this is a pleasure again. Thank you for having the openness to have me on. And talk about a variety of things in general as well. That's something I will always respect. Hopefully from anyone that I get a chance to talk with. So
absolutely,
I'll bounce out now and probably go to sleep.
Absolutely. Well, man, thank you again, and really appreciate you. A great guest, a fantastic guest, fantastic young man that's doing great work. You guys, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Check it out. I am gonna pull up. Lisa, I'm gonna bring you back in a sec, but I'm gonna pull up. Or am I good for the split screen right now?
Try it.
Let's see. This one?
No.
This one?
Same.
Hey, Matt. Matt's great. He did a great job. I don't know how many streams he's
a
on.
nice kid.
He's such
like,
a nice guy.
You can tell that he's like has a lot of manners. Was brought up really to be sweet and considerate. He was a really nice.
He was,
nice
yeah.
kid.
I reached out to him after seeing that video, and I was like, dude, you did such a good job on the editing of this. It's very clear. It's just really laid out perfectly. And you know me, Lisa. Whenever it comes to people making like longer form street content, I'm on top of it right away. And he did a fantastic job on that. And I knew something was up, right? Because you kind of ask yourself, is he having someone edit for him? Or is this guy just an editor? And he's just an editor. He just rips. So he made an amazing video. Go check that out for sure. But great guest. We have to get to some super chats. What's going on, chat? How we all doing? How's everyone doing?
I love the chat. I've been in
All right,
and out.
I'm hopping in right now.
I love the chat. Even when they're mean.
Every oneer, I said. Well, that was great. That was very cool. I like him a lot. We'll get him on again.
I like that you hype up people, even if they're doing the same type of content as you. Like that's always how you've been. It's like we need more people doing this, and like you don't try to gatekeep at all.
No.
You're always really good like that, and I really appreciate it, especially when you bring in younger people that are trying to have real conversations and really doing the hard work. You always lift them up. So kudos to you. Just saying.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words, Lisa. No, I don't feel any need. A lot of people do the gatekeeping, don't they? A lot of people do that.
Oh, yeah. That's why I said it, because you know how.
Yeah. No, it's
do it.
just totally ridiculous. Somebody could literally copy every single thing on my channel. Like, it could almost be word for word. I'm like, cool. There's a
no.
There's another person. No, that would be silly. But yeah, the more the merrier. The way I see it, and it's not like I was the first person to get into this or even do street videos or anything like that. So, it's.
But I like it.
Yeah, the more the merrier. We always like that. All right, so we got Steven Sanders sent a super chat for $10, and Steven said, "Klug Tube, I hope you're doing good. Excited to see the new merch. Yeah, I have a whole line ready to go. I just don't know when to drop it.
Now?
Yeah, we can do it now, maybe. Sith Lord Todd, what's going on, Sith Lord Todd? Thanks for being in the stream. Always appreciate you. There is only one problem in this country, and it affects us all. It's called 32 trillion debt and growing by the second. Right. There are plenty of issues when it comes to the direction of the soul of the country, when it comes to just its ability to stand. We have all sorts of issues. I think Matt's point when he was bringing that up is more just in general. There are a million. What?
He's a little young, let's be fair. I mean, like...
Oh, for sure. He's just getting into this.
He was like, corruption. I mean, like, there's always going to be corruption.
That ain't going nowhere. That's here to stay.
We just really, worry about China and debt and how we're like spending, and our dollar's disintegrating right in front of our face. I mean, we might as well be out there burning 20s because that's what's happening with our shit economy.
Right. The only thing that's guaranteed is the bigger the bureaucracies get and the bigger the system gets, the more corruption and the bigger the corruption gets. So It's like it's always going to be there. It doesn't matter what you do. Lisa, we have a handful of topics to go over today.
Let's go.
Yeah, we have a handful. First, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that link down in the description below for jamesklug.locals.com, my locals community. Bonus content. You can reach me over there. You can support me over there. All that great stuff. Cancel proof in the channel. Let's go, baby. Now, we spent more time on that one than I thought we were going to spend. But we had a big issue with Daily Wire streaming What is a Woman tonight. and I don't think it got fixed. We have right here,
All right.
just for do you have an update? Because I was just gonna fill everyone in on what I was talking about.
I was listening. So Elon said that it was a mistake.
Well, hold on.
And
We
then-
gotta shape it because I'm not sure if people know it just yet.
All right, you shape it. Can I get a milk? I'm gonna get the rest of my milk.
Go get a
I'm out of
milk. Go get a milk.
Thank God. You talking. You shape it.
All right, so if you guys did not hear, we had an issue on Twitter today. The Daily Wire tried to stream What is a Woman, their documentary, at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. Maybe it was actually 8 p.m. Eastern time. And what they found was that Twitter was basically canceling a deal that they set up with them to stream it live. And they canceled it because of misgendering in the documentary, even though it might just be proper gendering. Misgendering, that doesn't quite make sense. Anyways, they were unable to properly stream What is a Woman, the documentary, on Twitter today. And when it came down to it, they kept asking. We'll go through the thread right here. Jeremy Boring says, Twitter canceled a deal with the Daily Wire to premiere What is a Woman for free on the platform because 2 instances of misgendering. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not kidding. Here's what happened. We'll read a little bit. 1 year ago today, they released What is a Woman? Great. With Twitter's recent commitment to free speech, we thought it would be a perfect place to distribute the film and drive the conversation forward on one of the most important topics of our day. Absolutely reasonable. Twitter responded with enthusiasm and offered us the opportunity to buy a package to host the movie on a dedicated event page and to promote the event to every Twitter user over the first 10 hours. Actually pretty cool. So they accepted, and after reviewing the film, Twitter let them know that not only they could no longer purchase the package they offered, they would no longer provide us any support and would actually limit the reach of the film and label it as hateful conduct. So they put out 2 tests today, and I'm sure you saw that, Lisa. They put out 2 little test videos, and both of them were completely limited. You weren't able to share them, correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't able to retweet them, and so everyone starts tweeting at Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk did respond to this, and this is before the screening of What is Woman on Twitter. He said, this was a mistake by many people at Twitter. It is definitely allowed, whether you agree with using someone's preferred pronouns or not, pronouns. Not doing so is at most rude and certainly breaks no laws. I should note that I do personally use someone's preferred pronouns. Great, whatever. However, for the same reason, I object to rude behavior, blah, 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 blah. So it didn't work out. They premiered it. You were unable to share it. It was a big disaster. And honestly, I don't have too much other than
So
that,
there's a
Lisa,
couple updates.
here.
Yeah.
What are the updates?
There are a couple updates. So Elon came back and said that originally that they could share it and that it would not, but it wouldn't
Right.
really be visible to people within their own feed. But he said that tomorrow it will be fixed and they will be able to see it if you subscribe to the Daily Wire, but it won't have any ad revenue allowed or whatever. Funny enough, though, the 2 women that are in charge of trust and safety
Okay, so I was going to jump into this. Take it away.
just resigned. So they just resigned. I guess he threw them under the bus. And the bigger problem that I see with this is kind of like it's happened to me, right? Everybody knows I got a 14-day ban for using a word. And I got banned for this twice. I won't say it, but whatever. I got banned for this twice. The first time, ALX retweeted it and said, hey, Elon, what's up with this? And then it was fixed within 20 minutes once Elon saw it, right?
Yeah.
The second time, nobody really shared it. Elon didn't see it. And so nothing happened, right? Like I talked to the government affairs people. They answered me back. Nothing happened. Middle management is completely still woke there.
For sure.
And trying to do what they did, like kind of like what Trump and his administration did. Okay, he wants a policy. Well, we'll slow walk it. We'll still do what we want on our end. And that's what's happening there. Elon he can't have eyes on everything. And really, I mean, this was a big thing that he should have had eyes on. But even for like I still know so many people that are banned for things that like he has supposedly changed the rules for. And it's because middle management is there and still running the show at Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that these two women resigned. And for people to say, oh, Elon is, I heard a lot of people saying, well, he's not really he's saying he's a free speech platform, but he's not actually a free speech platform. But he's trying to make it that. I really believe that with.
Well, really quick, that's
like,
I don't.
Faith. I mean, he had that, what do you call it, that podcast with, he just had that interview with Seth Dillon from the, and he was like, I really want to make it a free speech platform as much as possible. I also want to monetize it, but my hope is just to break even, and I'm not going to sell my soul to make money at Twitter. And so I don't think it's him that's not being totally, compliant, like, free speech. It's these other people, and he probably got his butt handed. They probably got their butt handed to them, or they got chewed out, and they resigned because they don't want to put things out where they misgender people. But the weirdest thing about this whole thing is that it's not like they're spreading misinformation.
By the way, it's not misgendering. That doesn't make sense.
Right. That's my point. Like, you're not misgendering anybody. You're speaking the truth. So it's not like we're censoring misinformation or disinformation. They're actually censoring truth, which is the scariest thing of all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also will say, I don't like when I'm seeing people saying, oh, nothing's changed. It's like, nothing's changed, really? Because there are countless people that I can name that completely had their lives destroyed when it came to them relying on Twitter and being banished from Twitter, that were brought back. We're given that second chance. Elon Musk has made a massive difference. There's a massive difference when it comes to what speech is allowed and all of that. There has been. But what we are seeing is these kind of rogue employees that are still trying to enforce that leftist ideology as their policy. And if you break that policy, then you're out, or then you get punished, or whatever it may be. And surprise, surprise, back to your point, Lisa, like, it is difficult to stay on top of how many employees does Twitter have right now? Less.
Cut by 2%. They cut it by a lot.
Yeah, but what? Still maybe, like, let's just say 500. Let's say 400. Let's say 100. I mean, who cares? It is very difficult to stay on top of that many people when you just picked your CEO and you have all these other moving parts to the company. You're gonna have some rogue operatives in a company that was once 100%. Employees that were basically there. Maybe not 100%, but you get my point. A massive percentage of employees that were there to enforce leftist ideology. And that was the policy.
He said that they found code from like the 1990s era, or early 2000s, like it was 2005, maybe it was, or 2000, I forget. But from years ago, where it was like, if you had the word like sucks in your your stuff was being, like shadow banned for the most part, and they have to like undo all this code. There's so much censorship that's already built in that he's still trying to like unwind. But you also have to understand that it's a business that's been going bankrupt for a long time.
Yeah.
He is beholden to shareholders. And if some woke company doesn't want to put their ads up next to, say, somebody like me, or right underneath my tweets, like, I get that, but that doesn't mean that any of my tweets or your tweets or anybody else's should be suppressed. They should have like some algorithm for where to put those ads. Like, I get ad agencies not wanting to, be near stuff or be on certain platforms, and he's also liable to his shareholders. If he's not trying to make Twitter profitable for them, they can sue him.
You're talking about,
there's a lot of things that people really don't think about. And so I think that he's done a lot. I'm not like a big Elon fan. Like, I think that he's done some really crappy stuff with China that I don't appreciate at all. But for this, I think that I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit, because I've experienced that with middle management and him personally.
Yeah, I'm not just the next 6 months. I'm giving it years before choosing the black pill on Twitter. Right? I understand, and I think we all should understand, that it is incredibly complex. There's going to be aspects of what Elon Musk does that we completely disagree with. There's going to be aspects that Elon Musk does that we completely agree with. And there's going to be things like this that are kind of wishy-washy. I can't talk. Wishy-washy. They're complex issues. They're complex things, and maybe he just needs to keep getting rid of people or letting people resign or whatever it may be until he finally gets that team that really does allow for reasonable free speech. And I think that's what a lot of us ask for when it comes to these platforms. There isn't that level of reasonable free speech. I understand that advertisers don't want their products advertised on some white supremacist dude that's releasing a video, and it's like, oh, check out this ad from Walgreens right before some actual racist video or something, right? Like, we all get that. Most of us get that. It's just no company's gonna want that. But when it comes to this stuff, what is a woman? I'm talking about the most basic question to possibly be asking. The most harmless conversations. You've seen the documentary. I've seen the documentary. It's very, very basic stuff when it comes to just the questions, the conversations, all that. And
yeah, it's for worse though.
What?
Like, most of that documentary is the left getting to speak.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
So-
With Matt Walsh saying, well, what is that? Here and there. Like,
Right,
that's
like,
what it is.
If you really watch the documentary, like, there's nothing coming from, he asks questions, they respond honestly, and he's like, huh, that doesn't make sense. Like, there's no hate coming from him in there. This is really, they just don't want the mirror to be held up. They don't want to be exposed. That's why they don't want, if they really believed in their arguments, they should want everybody to watch that video, because their people would have owned him.
Yep. That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's I know Matt Walsh put out a tweet earlier. I'll try to find it, but Matt Walsh put out a tweet and earlier today just talking about how much they rely on that machine. How much they rely on that censorship machine, because as soon as that ideology gets put out there, and like you're saying, it's just them speaking what their stance is, what their point of view is. They don't even want you to see their point of view. They just want you to obey, and that's literally it. That is it. Don't ask questions. Don't show our stance. Don't because of how crazy it is. And we get that. They understand that it's crazy. They don't want any of it shown. They just want their way and no questions asked.
That's why they hated Libs of TikTok. Like, all Libs of TikTok was doing originally was reposting their stuff with hardly any commentary at all, right?
Like one line.
And they had a problem with that. Like, they only want it to be in their circles, and they want to be like, Twitter famous in their circles. But God forbid the rest of the world sees what they're really like and what they're really doing. Then they have a problem with it, and it's everybody else's fault for sharing it. Like, which one is it?
Here, right here.
I'm just so sick of it. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, but this sums it up right here. This sums it up. A tweet from Matt Walsh. The trans activists know they can't win in a fair fight. They suppress, censor, and deplatform because they know their position is insane and can't be defended. If open discussion on this topic was allowed, their side would be crushed into oblivion in less than a week. I would say less than 24 hours potentially. Trans ideology would virtually disappear if the other side of the argument was allowed to speak openly and be heard without suppression or reprisal. The ideology hides behind a fortress of censorship because it is easily destroyed out in the open. And its proponents know that. And so that's why what you're talking about right there, Lisa, they know. They know that they would get obliterated. They know that if people watch What is a Woman and listen to their arguments, they know that if people do that, they know if they just give that what is it, 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so, if they just give that documentary, that little bit of time, they're won over because they've listened to their argument. They've listened to the trans activist argument, and it's not as appealing as they think.
Right. They're terrible. They're terrible arguments. They don't make any sense. And you're talking about something that is legit fact, and it has never been disputed for the entire existence of humanity. And all of a sudden, they're right. Like, what happened to trust the science? Like, I don't understand these people at all.
They threw the science out the window. That's what happened.
They threw the science out the window. They don't care. They are absolutely ridiculous. Oh, by the way, what was I listening to earlier?
While you're thinking about it, can I read a super chat or no?
I was just going to say, when people used to transition back in, before all this hoopla, I forget what it was. They just did some study. And it was like majority of the mothers, and I'm talking like upward of like 60-70% of the mother who's, before we had all this social contagion stuff, who had trans children were borderline personality disorder themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Like these are, we are breeding a world of sick, mentally ill people because of the poison that we put into everybody's brains. Just like if you feed yourself like McDonald's every day, you're going to get sick. And we are constantly feeding our brains with poison. So you have all these mentally ill parents that are shoving this stuff on their kids. Society's reinforcing it. There's hardly anybody to talk about it. If you question it, they feel bad about themselves. So then they all fight back like you're attacking them.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest thing that we've completely, to not hurt mentally ill people's feelings, we've completely lost track of all reality, moral decency, and everything else good in this world. I hate this. I hate LGBTQ plus month. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to get you banned.
I know. I was like, oh, month. Okay. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. The weird part about the Pride Month to me is, I mean, like, when did any of it stop? Like, I feel like I've just been surrounded by this, and perhaps it's just because I'm so involved, but I don't think so. I think we see it from companies, from corporations, from tech, from everyone, schooling. It just feels like every single month is Pride Month. Like, this doesn't feel any different. I feel like we've just been listening to this, getting, having this rhetoric, bashing it across our heads for the last 12 months since, last June. It doesn't really seem like it stopped.
In June. But like, here's what I don't like anyway, and this is going to be another contentious point. Like, I hate Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? Like, I do, and I don't care what anybody says, right? I'm contrite.
Why?
Everybody's wearing pink all the time, right? It's just another thing for other people to like be a victim. It's just so bleh, right? But they do this. They take whole months and it feels like you're exploiting cancer, right? You're not even, they misappropriate the funds that they raise anyway. I'm just so sick of everybody like needing some type of victim status or some cause, right? Like I got POTS. Am I going around like, oh, let's like walk for this disease or whatever? Like, I hate it.
First of all,
I don't like it.
We care about tatas on this channel. That's the official stance on this channel.
I'm sure. But like, the point is, it's the same thing. It's like, why does everybody in the world need to be so validated? Like,
I'm all about raising money for actual good causes. I think that could be a good one. Your point about them misusing funds, I'm sure that's totally a thing. But how about this? We just blank slate, blank 12 months. Nobody gets a month.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I want no months for anybody. Can we all just like, you can have your birthday, fine.
No,
okay, but
cancel those too. We
don't need like this whole virtue signaling month. Like, we don't need Black History Month. We don't need like, could you imagine if we have St. Patty's Day, right? Could you imagine if you had Irish History Month? Like, what? And then we'll have Polish History Month, and then we'll have Greek History Month. Native American History Month. I mean, when does it end?
It doesn't end.
I'm sick of these people.
Yeah, I think a big point of why they push for these is they just really want to give themselves like another civil rights era. Like a little, even if it's just a tiny win, like, oh, we're fighting for this month for those people.
No, they don't want equality. They want power over you.
No,
there
but
is power and victimhood status. And this is just another notch on their belt to secure their victimhood status and then take power. That's what they want. They want advantage over you. They want to be lifted up. That's why it's like affirmations and like they want to be celebrated. They don't want to be equal.
My point of bringing that up was not that they want to be equal. They just want to like LARP as if they're in a new civil rights kind of movement, if that makes sense. Any little battle, they just introduce it, even though you're like, you don't even need that, but you're just gonna do it just because. They're like, yeah, because with those little battles, you can trick stupid people or ignorant people or whatever it may be into buying into your movement. That you're fighting for more equality and all this stuff, even though it's not the case. But I think a lot of this has to do more of that LARPing as if they're in some civil rights movement, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh no, they are absolutely LARPing. I mean, their biggest thing is like, oh, you're going to be responsible for trans death and, violence against trans people if you don't affirm this or if you, have a problem with this. But can you name one trans person that's been killed? Because if I recall correctly, a trans person just shot up a school of Christian kids, but I don't know one violent episode or somebody's name against trans kids. And let me tell you, if it happened, you would know about it. It would be on every freaking news channel in the world on repeat for the next 2 months, right? So it's not happening. So it's a lie. Like it's a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie.
Well, I could actually touch on this really quick because we were just out in, obviously, Oregon. What was that, 3 weeks ago now or something like that? And that's the number one topic that people will bring up. Activists, they'll bring up, oh, well, trans people are being murdered because of rhetoric of challenging them. And the craziest thing is not only is that murder rate very low, I think last year they totaled around, there's a couple of groups that the FBI now tracks this information, but there's also other groups that track it, and we're tracking it before the FBI, I believe, or right around the same time as when they started. But last year there's about like 32, if I remember correctly, homicides within the trans community in the United States. There's an estimated, I don't even know what the number was off the top of my head. I think they're saying like 1 million right now, or maybe, that's what they're just throwing that number out. Anyways, my point is the homicide rate in the trans community is actually 1/3. It's actually 1/3 of the homicide rate for the general population. So
and by the way,
they're saying that it's a genocide, but it's 1/3 the size of the general population's homicide rate.
And who are the people that are killing them in the homicide rate?
So yeah, the overwhelming majority of these cases is their partners. So it's not a and I mean like I didn't look through every single one, but I believe it's like 98% is their partner. That's why what you're saying right there, Lisa, it would be brought up. It would be the number one story in America, even if it happened to one person.
Correct.
When it comes to an actual targeted attack. Yeah, but that's an interesting stat. Grab onto that. Yeah, it's the murder rate in the trans community is less than actually 1/3. Yeah, I believe it's 1/3. Less than 1/3 of the general population's homicide rate. It might actually be 1/4 right now because that 1/3 is using older information, and with them saying that there's more trans people, that number shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. But anyways, it's a low.
They're the most protected class in our country now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. No, there's no doubt about that. 100%. So we got a super chat. Couple super chats. I'm gonna catch up. Sorry, you guys. How's everyone in the chat doing? Steven Sanders, what's going on, man? Did we already read this one? Do you think that the woke companies are going broke? Do you think that the woke companies that are going broke is more of a conspiracy to make billions of dollars disappear? No, I don't.
I've never heard that. Listen, I live in Conspiracy Alley, and I never heard that before. But no, I don't think that. I do think that the Target one, if it doesn't keep up, they will continue and they won't care. I mean, I know that they've lost like 10 billion or something like that. But if women start shopping there next month, then it's not going to hit them as hard. It's harder for Target because they have such a wide array of things, and there's not the same amount of competition for Target that you're like, who really likes going to Walmart? No one, especially in Philadelphia. But
I think as the economy is taking a dip, it actually could be good for them if people forget about it in a year, and next year they're competing with a low month the previous year. So it could actually technically help them if they don't get affected in the long run. Do you understand my point there?
No, I do. I just think
that could actually help them out for
the
next
Budweiser
year.
one. The Budweiser one has real staying power, and it is a signal to the rest of them. Now, I think Target's kind of learning from that now, but I mean, as they're hiding all their merchandise in the back.
Are you going to shop there still?
My daughter needed. Listen to this. My daughter's really tall. Real quick, she's really tall, and so she needed. She needs athletic shorts for tomorrow, but they have to be like 2 inches. They can't be more than 2 inches above her knee. Do you know how hard that is to find shorts for a girl, especially who's as tall as my daughter, whatever. So Vasily comes and he's like, hey, I'm going to go take Olivia. And I said, don't you dare go to Target. Right. And he's like, okay, I won't. So he went to Old Navy instead. But like, I think Old Navy's woke too. But we still, I never really shop at Target anyway. Target is not my style. It's not my thing, but once in a while, but no, we didn't. I made sure tonight that my family did not go to Target.
Yeah, I don't really shop there too much. I have shopped there, obviously. I am fully on board to do my part when it comes to these boycotts, when it just stop the insanity. And it's not just insanity. It's not like them just standing and saying, hey, they're more Democrats or whatever, or more liberal or whatever. This is actually some of the most evil ideology that they are supporting, and it's worth a boycott. And so I hope they stick, and I hope they stick for a very, very long time. I hope you'll brand them with this and remember it and choose alternatives that they can. And there's no, it seems like you said, you're like, the other companies might be woke as well, and that might be a huge challenge, and I get that. However, if we could just focus, it's not really about that as much as it is about focusing on a select few offenders and just going after them. That's what it's really about.
Yeah, to send a message. And that's exactly why I'm like, well, make sure that you go to Old Navy tonight instead of Target. Like, absolutely do not go there.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah. We got Joseph C. What's going on, man? Hey, James. Loving the Portland series. Appreciate that. We still have episode 4 dropping. The final episode is dropping soon. Appreciate you watching. Keep it coming. Also, I am gay and don't feel the need to celebrate Pride. Who cares? Good to see you too, Lisa. Yeah, I was actually thinking about this earlier today. How many in the is a gay community? I mean, it's so dumb to say. How many gay Americans, right, are just so embarrassed by this nonsense happening, or is it not that many? You know, we know a bunch, Lisa, right? We know a bunch that are just so over it. It's just so over the top. I understand them, you know, some of our friends like having fun, whatever, going to whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but the whole month. And just the insanity, every single corporation pandering, it's so tacky, it's so ridiculous, and it's so obvious. It's just obvious pandering. And I wonder how many gay Americans are just sick of that. How many are in that you know, that group that Joseph is in?
There are a lot of parents, or at least, like, you know, I consider this trans stuff, like, or pride stuff, a parent issue. And I know that there are a lot of parents that are not aware of how bad it is. And so, like, I see people saying, like, why do you keep sharing, like, Dylan Mulvaney or whatever? And I'm like, because there's a lot of parents who have no idea what's going on in their schools.
Yep.
And I know that it's happening in more schools because I used to get all the parent DMs, you know? It's going on a lot. And so as a mom, I know that you're running around and you're doing school book reports and, you know, you're taking care of the dog and running a soccer practice and running a baseball practice. And, you know, there are times where I'm falling behind on politics now, even though that's what I do. And so I think that they're out of touch with how it is now when they walk in and in Target and it's completely hitting them in the face over and over again. And there's tuck bathing suits and pride.
Yeah, just so over the top.
You go into the boys section and it looks like girl clothes. Like, it's totally bananas, and everything is rainbows and unicorn and glitter. And my kids don't even like that stuff anyway. They never did. Right. So I think that moms don't really have a lot of idea of what's going on. They never really do. That's why it's like, oh, the suburban mom vote. They don't like Trump because they know he mean tweets and he's like whatever, but they don't really care or pay that much attention to the issues. They know that their eggs are $8 a piece, and that when they go to get it from Target, and that now they have all this pride stuff and, you know, dildos and you know, sex toys on the shelves in Target and in CVS and in Walgreens, and they're like, yo, what is happening? This is getting a lot now. I think that's really hitting parents home. But for the most part, they really don't know and pay attention. I feel like it's our job to educate them. And a lot of people, women especially, I mean, if you notice, all of like the advertising and the marketing is usually directed towards women, because women are the ones that make the buying decisions for the household. Yeah. And it's all about
60% women. Is that correct?
Yeah.
60% women.
And so all about emotions and like being nice to people and let's be kind. And that's why we have like the fat issues and the gay issues and all that. And it's all built on top of women's emotions. It's all, and so men, y'all need to step your game up and get your women in check. But here's the thing, like, you know, we are not being kind to these people by lying to them. And that's the message that everybody needs to like write home about all the time, especially to the women. We are not being kind by lying to these people and telling them by getting fake parts and chopping themselves up. They're never going to be the opposite sex. That is not helping them. It's like handing an anorexic a lifetime supply of diet pills and telling her, yes, honey, you're fat. That's exactly what we're doing. We are killing these people. And so we just have to write home to these moms and these women and these sympathetic people that we are not helping these people. We are hurting them. So we have to have some kind of compassion in our messaging. But
well,
you know,
yeah, I 100% agree with that, because it's not, you know, I think on the right, there's a lot of like conservative leaning people that just like to deliver things as hardcore as possible. And that's fun. I get it. It can be funny, but you are right when it comes to that messaging, Lisa. Being compassionate, first of all, we have that moral authority in this argument to win just in general, but we can also win by being compassionate. Over 80%, the studies show, over 80% of these kids that are experiencing gender dysphoria see their gender dysphoria desist after they go into puberty. Okay? It is not accepting or a beautiful thing at all to say, yes, go ahead, chemically castrate yourself before you're even capable of having sex. You can make decisions about changing sex. That's not that is not compassionate. That is not kind. That's not. I mean, it's wrong on so many levels. And being that person that exposes that and says, no, you're destroying children's lives, it's a total winning argument. And as soon as people start to hear it, right, because you're talking about it being a parent issue and all that, as soon as that message reaches those parents, oh, it's game over. It's done.
Yeah.
What we saw in Florida, right, this past election, I mean, it was game over when people start educating themselves, when the parents start educating themselves on these topics. It is a losing argument 10 out of 10 times for between the left and the right. It is a losing argument for the left 10 out of 10 times.
I just want to clarify, though. I do not want you to think, or anybody else on here to think for 1 minute, that I do not mean to be really nice to these people. I don't mean that at all. I think that we should humiliate and shame everybody as much as humanly possible, because that shaming and humiliation is actually a driver for action. So if we're all like, you're all weird, this is not cool, whatever, that's a bigger driver of action. I'm just talking about when we have like companies and political messaging. You can do the compassionate there, but everybody else in society.
Well, I'm not talking about behaving that way to the people that are actually pushing the ideology. I'm talking about trying to sell people on your beliefs when it comes to people that might be maybe they're just not in the know. They don't know. You can sell those people as, look, this is the moral stance to take. This is the more compassionate stance to take. This is all these things, right? The overwhelming majority of these children that are experiencing this gender dysphoria, they have other issues. They have severe depression issues. They have all sorts of issues, right? And it's important to see those kids get help. But that's a different conversation that you're having with people that just are ignorant to the topic versus people that are adamantly or you know, they are activists. They want children to be allowed to do all this. I think those are two different conversations that you have with two different people. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. I want to shame and humiliate and embarrass them. And I want to make Democrats feel like they've made people on the right feel for the last 4 years, where they're afraid to go out of their house wearing a Biden hat or put a sticker on their car. I want every time in their existence to be as miserable as possible, honestly. But other than that,
be returning the favor there.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. I want it to be exactly the same.
Yeah. It's so funny because they wonder why like so many conservatives are upset, or why why Americans sent Trump in there. And they just still don't get it. They still don't get it. They still don't understand that we see every single day them talking about January 6th while they like destroyed America for an entire summer. Like they still just don't process this stuff in their heads. They don't understand.
No, it's so true. And now you're going to watch them take our children and like people say like, oh, you're whatever phobe to me. And I say now, like, yeah, absolutely I am. I'm afraid of this ideology sweeping into my children's everyday life and into their brains and corrupting them 100%. I'm a phobe. You got it. No problem. Right? Like that is absolutely true. Because it is.
Side note, why is it making it into my children's classes?
Yeah, it's not making it into mine, as we all well know. But like,
well, you're careful about that though. Like, it's so easy for you're probably in the minority right now, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm very lucky in my thing. But my mom just bought my daughter like a Roxy surfer girl, like kind of like photo book, but it has some words in it. And I look over and I see, and like Olivia hasn't started reading it, but I start seeing like words like, oh, everybody, whatever. And I'm like, you're not reading that until I read it first.
For
like
sure.
100%. I am.
That is incredibly reasonable, and every single parent should be doing that right now. Oh, hold on. I don't know if this corporation's trying to get you to buy into their radical ideology. Let me check it out first. Incredibly reasonable. It's so sad that that's something you have to do nowadays, because I don't know if parents were doing that,
my
20
parents
years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I don't know if that was a thing. I don't know if they needed to.
Yeah, no. No, they did. I remember reading this book, Girl, when I was like in early high school, middle school. And let me tell you, there was a lot of sex and drugs and stuff in that book. I should never have been reading that at like my age. Looking back now, if like I found my daughter reading that book, I would strangle her.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna move on to a couple super chats. We have Sith Lord Todd again. What's going on, man? Have not seen the documentary What Is Woman, but I learned what is a woman in like 7th grade biology class. Well, that's a pretty reasonable take there. Well, that's one of the most infamous documentaries today, so that'll tell you that much. Another one from Sith Lord Todd. Really appreciate the $10 super chat, sir. It is all about a power grab. Every group is battling for power. The Democrats want us to stay divided. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, Lisa, who were we talking to about? We were talking to somebody about that the other, maybe a month ago or so. I think it was after we got done filming the video on systemic racism, referring to more systemic racism against people of color in the United States. I think that one guy brought that up. We were talking to him about that. He asked, why do they keep pushing this? And the answer is pretty obvious. It's why do they keep saying this? New argument from the left is saying that people of color aren't safe in Florida. Did you see them saying that?
How ridiculous is that?
Like that, I don't know if I have examples of extreme rhetoric, like political rhetoric, quite like that recently. That might top the charts.
Do you see these lunatics on TikTok like crying? They're sitting there like crying, like, I have to tell my kids that I'm leaving Florida. Like, for what? For where do you have to go? Nobody's hurting you. What rights don't you have? Right? Like, please leave. Please leave. Please leave all of America, actually. Please leave. Go.
Let the door hit you on your way out.
Bye. No, absolutely not. Like, these people are they're so ridiculous. It's like they want to be victims. That's the thing. That's the real ideology. It's not the trans thing. It's like, how can I get victim points? Did you just see that Dylan Mulvaney said too the other day that he thinks he's now attracted to women?
I think that video was a year old, by the way, or so. That was an old one.
What, where he said to like, hey mom, like, I think I'm attracted to women now that I have the whole trans thing. And she's like, oh, I just want you to really get a house. And then she's like, oh, I could use some grandchildren. And he's like, well, like from the girl that he would date. And he's like, oh, you never know. It could be me. Like, no, they are just like, they want to be as messed up as possible. They want to be as twisted and as like, unique or queer or whatever it is as possible. Like, they're going for as many, like, this is their whole personality.
It's like merit badges.
Right. Like, they've spent years on the internet needing validation from the world they grew up with their phones. And the only way to get validation is to make their personality their sexuality. And so they just keep trying to be more interesting. It's like a new hairstyle for like us back a day. You know, we dye our hair with Kool-Aid or something for a week, but no, they changed their sexuality. Or, you know, I had one kid in a school who said that she identified as a planet and she had multiple personalities and they were other planets and they would orbit around her. Like, I'm not even kidding. These kids are literally going insane, trying to like make up new things to be different, like,
Well-
so that they be in this club accepted, but also stand out and idolized on YouTube. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, and I think with that lack of sense, to me, it's obviously faceted, but I think a big core part of this is like the more advanced a society gets in today's world, the less sense of community you have, and so you go looking for that, I don't know, you know, recognition or whatever it may be elsewhere. And a lot of people, these kids are growing up in social media. It's all about how you look, how cool you are on social media, whatnot. And when it comes to these people maybe just growing up not feeling that important, they don't feel motivated, they don't really know what to do, and therefore they buy into this ideology that says, hey, you can be a victim and that will get you attention. And because maybe they're more just outcasts or whatever it may be, that's the goal. You can go about getting attention this way because they're not really getting it anywhere else. And then it just tumbles into this whole ideology.
And you have their parents backing them up on it, right? Like, if you notice, there's one trans like little kid, and his dad like is in every video with him, right? I think
Yeah.
it's a boy transing to a girl or a girl, I forget.
For
right?
sure. But it's the same thing, like I was talking about for the kids, but for the
Yeah.
adults as well.
Yeah. So, and the parents are pushing it because that's a society that we live in. What counts as your worth and your value is how many likes you get on
For
social
sure.
media platforms. It's really, really scary, and it's destroying our world. I think it's just as big of a problem. Like, I know I was talking about our economy and whatever, but like, it will also be the cause of the fall of our nation. And listen, every empire and every big, you know, civilization has its fall. I feel like we are due for ours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird. Like obviously we have a ton of issues as a country, but in general, like in a general sense, I guess there's many aspects that are the best they've ever been in the history of
Yes.
humanity, right? And it's this weird, like, the better things are for you, the more issues you have to create for yourself, because people just strive for that victimhood. You know, if they don't feel special in any other way, that can make them feel special, so they'll create those issues. I don't know if you know, Lisa, but isn't our suicide rate higher here or in other, let's say,
Yeah.
Korea would be obvious, but
First of all-
compared to like some African countries?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
is that the case, Nico?
yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's like just because you have it better, people just kind of treat mental illnesses or whatever it may be, or maybe they develop mental illnesses or whatever. There's people that are crippling themselves. There are people that are walking around with canes because they're not physically disabled, but they like create it in their mind. There's a term for this, by the way. I don't know what it is, but they create it in their mind.
The Dave Chappelle special where he actually talks about this, where he's like, he says, you know, Anthony Bourdain had the best job ever. You get to travel around the world and eat the best food with like every celebrity in the world, and he kills himself. And he's like, then I've got a guy who was in law school, started dating this girl. I told him not to date. They get divorced in, you know, law school. And now I run into him a bunch of years later, and he's like working at Foot Locker with the whole freaking, you know, striped jacket and all. Never even occurred to this dude to kill himself. Right? Like, wasn't even a thing. He's like,
how does this make sense?
Right, like never occurred. And it really is. It's like this first world problem. It is like people, when you have too much indulgence and you have nothing to live for and you have no purpose. People need purpose. People need to be working for something, and when you work for something, have pride in it. For women, it really should be raising children and having a good family and making sure that your legacy, your husband's legacy are passed on through the generations. But right now, women are like a slave to their computer and likes on TikTok and how many likes they can get in a thong bikini. Men are not doing anything really physical anymore. Not everybody is equipped enough to use their brain like in an Elon Musk type of way. Men are more depressed than ever. No wonder our suicide rates are going up. We don't have any purpose. We really don't have any community, but we don't have purpose in life. And the only way to get that back is God and family and the nuclear family, the thing that has, saved every civilization and is the whole reason for us being here.
Yeah.
And that's what we should be paying attention to.
100%. 100%. Next super chat. Let's see. I have a handful. What's going on, chat? How's everyone going? How many people do we have in here right now? It's kind of late. Oh, nice. What is it? Actually, I can't see it right now. 117. Yo, what's going on, chat? How we doing, everyone? Let me catch up on the super chats because we had a couple that I missed. Sith Lord Todd. He's just our MVP, huh? Sith Lord Todd, don't mess with Mama Bear. I say it all the time. Do not mess with the Mama Bears. We love our Mama Bears, don't we, folks? Lisa, I started referring to women when we go out on the street videos. Like, I call them off camera usually. Hey, Mama Bear, would you like to do an interview? And they think it's just, they like love it. They like adore it. It's really cute.
Yeah, we pride ourselves in being protective of our children because that's what's within our biological nature.
That's right. I say it. I think every single time we film, I say it to a Mama Bear. Next super chat. It seems, Lisa, do you want to read a super chat?
I can't even see them. Are you going to make me read bad ones? Because that would be funny. No,
you know what's funny? People could totally troll. People could totally troll me into reading a bad one because I would just walk right into it.
So would I, but guess what? I would think it was hysterical. Like if I got hit with a bad one, I'm like, guys, like I would find that really funny, but that's not for everybody.
Oh yeah, I have no problem with people messing with us like that.
So which one are you?
It seems like Anheuser-Busch. I'm not saying that right. It seems like Anheuser-Busch did a very. Oh, read it.
It seems like Anheuser-Busch did a very similar polarizing woke action by giving free beer to the vaccinated during lockdown.
Right, and Steven, that was my point previously. Is look, we can be a dog chasing cars, or we can be like a pack of wolves hunting just one gazelle or whatever they hunt. Probably not gazelles. But we can focus in. We can hone in on one, maybe two, maybe three. I probably wouldn't say more corporations to really hit home about, like to really hammer on. And I think Target, add them to the list. I'll never shop there again. 100%. I have no problem doing that.
I will never shop there again. No.
Bud Light, I've heard bad things happen after you drink it. So, I wouldn't go about that. Also, you have plenty of other options. I don't care if the other options are still doing woke BS. Again, we focus on a company, we hit them hard. And maybe that can change in the next 2 years. We can add a company and take away a company. I don't know. But the point is the impact needs to be made, and it can't be made if we're all over the place. That's the bottom line.
And it needs staying power. Like it needs to be an actual commitment.
Yeah, I don't think I'll drink Bud Light for the rest of my life just to make a point. Yeah,
I don't really drink it anyway, but I would never.
I'm totally serious.
Like, my mom is so nuts that she's going to restaurants now and asking if they serve it, and if they do, she says, "Oh no, I won't eat here or drink here," and she leaves.
I love your mom so much. That is so amazing. That is the funniest. That is so unhinged.
I know she did. But she does. She really does. She walks in and she says, "Do you serve Bud Light?" And if they say yes, she goes, "Sorry, we can't come here." And she leaves.
More people should do that. That's crazy, but more people should do that for sure. I mean, that's that's amazing. That, folks, that is how you make a difference. And you might be like, "Oh, well, that's too much." Blah blah blah. I'm a normie. Great, good for you. That's how you should think. But guess what? Your opposition doesn't think that way. They'll make sure to, if a company comes out as more conservative leaning or they do anything remotely on the scale that these other companies have been doing for the left, but for the right. And I don't even know what that would be on the right. It'd be like, I don't even know what would be a comparable thing on the right side. I can't even think of it. It has to be so extreme.
You wouldn't even let us eat in restaurants. Are you kidding me? I couldn't have a Trump bumper sticker on my car in Philadelphia because they burned
Good
cars.
enough.
They were burning cars. Like, let's be serious
Okay.
here. They were burning cars.
So yeah, there you go. Well, you still didn't think of a example of like something on the right that would be as extreme as what the left has been doing. Honestly, it's because I can't even think of one. I can think of a million ones that the left has done, including burning down cars that have a Trump sticker on them. That's insane.
That really did happen, by the way. Look it up.
I believe that. Billboard Chris said it. Super chat from Joseph. What's going on, dog? Thank you for the second super chat, I believe. Billboard Chris said it best. There are two sexes and infinite personalities. Just be yourself. Peace and love to you both from Liverpool. Well, thank you so much for watching from over there, all the way over there.
What happened to self-love? You really got to cut your D off to like love yourself?
Well,
I mean, really, is that a thing?
You know what's crazy is when we were talking to people about what does it mean to be trans, and just talking to trans advocates, transgender or transvestites, all of that, the other month when we were filming all that. Are you not allowed to say that word? Isn't that just a normal
I don't
word?
know, but I'm just trying to be careful for you. Transformers.
Oh gosh, the live streams. So Transformers, sure. When we were asking them about that, what they would describe to us would be personalities, and they would describe to us very specifically a tomboy, and that's who would need to transition their sex before they could even have sex. That would be the responses that we get. Lisa, I don't know if you saw the videos, but I believe in part 1, episode 1, a girl said to that question, what does it mean to be transformer? She said, you might have a dirty room. Maybe you like to play with boys' toys. And
first of all, girls' rooms are way dirtier for the most part. I guess
it's. I don't even know if I agree with the concept that a boy has a dirtier room than a young girl. I don't even know if that's a thing.
No, I'm saying it's.
Yeah, for sure. So that would be the responses that we would get, though. And so it's like, yeah, two sexes, infinite personalities. You're describing to me a tomboy, and that's 50% of women out there when they're growing up.
But not even that. They cannot describe to you what a woman is. So if you don't know what something is, how can you transition to it? If you feel a certain way, right? Like I feel like a woman. How would you know that you feel like one if you were never one and you can't even describe what that one is? Right. Like none of it makes sense. It's all circular reasoning. You can't like if you can't say like, oh, well, it's a feeling or they. And here's the other thing. They don't like these gender stereotypes. Women can do anything. Women can do whatever. Okay. So then why is being a woman equated with wearing a skirt? I thought that was against the rules. Like none of their rules.
No, it's much worse than a skirt. It's much worse than a skirt. Dylan Mulvaney decided to pick a stereotypical Valley girl. For like it's almost just insulting to that concept is just insulting to women in general. Like a dumb Valley girl was like the outfit that was picked. I'm gonna get a strike.
Okay, wait. I don't like that argument either. I hear women all the time on the right and in general saying, "Oh, it's insulting to women. I'm so offended." I'm not offended.
No, I'm saying the concept of a Valley girl is like a caricature of a female. I mean, that's like
my problem is this though, James. They are all caricatures of women because and like especially the drag stuff. It's like grotesque, clownish versions of women, right? Like that's what drag is.
Yeah, that's true. We got to make sure we're cancel proofing this stream, by the way. So just keep that in mind as you continue.
I will. My point is that I am not offended as a woman that they are doing these grotesque. I'm not offended by anything. Like that's the same thing to me about like blackface, right? Like, why are you so offended? Like who said somebody wants to put like black? Okay, like why is your worth like reliant on somebody else and what they're doing? Mine is not. So it's never about it being offensive to me as a woman that these people want to fake being a woman. Like I just think you're, not right. Right. So I'm really trying here.
Maybe we should just stream on like Rumble in the future.
I know.
I'm constantly thinking about what words I'm saying on the stream to make sure that
I could really behave.
You've done a great job.
But my point is that women, I don't you dare women go out there and be the victim now too, right? Like don't do that. Do not be like, oh, I'm the victim now because you're whatever. Yeah, we should like protect women's sports and all that stuff. I mean, fine, but like, don't be offended. Feel sorry for these people. Try to help the situation and protect your children from it happening to them. But don't actually sit there and play the same game that the left does. We're not offended that you're doing this. Like, I'm not offended. It doesn't offend me as a woman that you think you can breastfeed. Feel sorry for them. Do you see what I'm saying there?
I totally see it. I totally see it. I totally understand where you're coming from. Next super chat from Sith Lord Todd. Back in the day and is very missing in today's society. Purpose is religion. An iPhone does not replace that. No, not even an iPhone. And well said, Sith Lord. But not even an iPhone. No, the universe. If you're gonna make this argument, the universe does not replace that. Stones do not replace that. I'm saying that because a lot of people mock religion nowadays, especially in LA. There's like 5 Christians in LA. And but they just replaced that hole, that black hole with something else. And it's been, oh, thank the universe for this. Or they get really into stones and get really spiritual with all of that. It doesn't really them seeking that doesn't really go away. They just replace it with absurd things. You ever notice that, Lisa? Like
no, they do. They absolutely do.
Oh,
like
thank
women,
the universe. Like the universe had nothing to do with it.
I'm gonna do self-care and I'm gonna manifest and I'm gonna use my brain power and put the energy out into the world. Like that's what they do. The problem even with that though is that there's no reinforcement mechanism, right? So if you don't, even if your self-care and your religion is like yoga and making sure you take baths and use lots of lilac and put like essential oils, right? Is that you're only responsible to yourself all the time with those type of religions, and there's no enforcement mechanism. So that's why you need a real religion, right? And you need a real church and you need a real spiritual leader to hold you accountable, to do the hard things, because taking off a day from yoga and only being responsible to yourself is why most of these women and men in general, whoever, are unhappy, because you need to be accountable to other people, to your family, to your community, to your church, to your God. But they don't have any of that. They're only responsible to themselves. And it is the quickest way to make you miserable and unhappy.
100%. They replaced this authority figure with a rock. It's a beautiful rock, but they literally did that. Sith Lord Todd. Mulvaney seemed to take his view of what a woman is from that lead character in the movie Clueless. Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at. It's just like, huh?
She was so hot. Alicia Silverstone in that. She was the girl from the Aerosmith
the blonde
video.
Blonde girl?
Yeah, I was in that. Remember I made you watch the Aerosmith video and I was like, this girl's so hot from that crazy video.
Was that her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, she's smoking.
Smoking hot.
I saw there's this Kitty Barber in the chat. She's like, I'm a Christian in LA, 1 of 5.
Well, apparently there's a very religious Dodgers, religious Latino population.
Catholic too, and they decided to poke that bear. What were they thinking?
Dude, that's a whole hot mess because they took it away and then they backtracked and then they brought them back. And let me tell you, I hope I run into those.
Yeah,
people.
just to be clear with anybody, and I'm not going to pretend to be a professional on this because I only glanced at it, really, to be totally honest with you. But basically, the Dodgers started collaborating with this group of drag queens that dress up as like priests, Catholic priests, and it's like sexual outfits. It's really, really brutal stuff. I'm not a Catholic.
They do crucifixions. They do.
So I don't know all the specifics on that stuff, but yeah. So they do it all. It's crazy, and I believe they are kind of a satanic cosplaying group. Is that correct, Lisa?
Yeah, their whole thing is like to mock the Christian religion. They dress up as Jesus and have him do sexual acts.
So the craziest thing to me is, you know, they picked the LA Dodgers decided to work with this group, and their fan base must be 80% Catholic. I mean, I'm not even joking. It just must be. Maybe if I had to guess, you have a bunch of Latinos in Los Angeles County that are obviously big supporters of the Dodgers, and I mean, they must be 70-80% Catholic, and they decided to poke that bear. I don't think it's going to work out too well for them. I know that there's protests coming out about that. Joseph C. from a off-topic fave Beatles song. Lisa, do you have a Beatles song that's your favorite?
Oh, Martha, my dear. Reminds me of my dad. I can play it on the piano.
I'm not really a Beatles person. Not that I don't like them. There's other artists that I would probably know songs from better than the Beatles. If I'm
I
being
have
totally
a very
honest.
robust music taste, especially for older music.
Yeah, you have. I think I'd listen to more Frank Sinatra hanging out with you than than ever in my life. And Frank Sinatra rips.
You know what's really bad? I live in like Philly, and I have very liberal neighbors, at least on one side, but the rest is like conservative. But I listen to the Sound of Music soundtrack a lot while I'm outside gardening, and they had this like Alleluia like church thing, and all you hear is like this like nuns singing in Latin, like really loud, projected out my windows like all the time. These people think that I'm nuts with my music selection around here, but there's like you have, I'll make you listen to it. It's like church bells going, and I have it like blasting, and they're singing in Latin, saying Hallelujah. It's a wild scene here,
guard. You know what's funny? Ever since I got the Miata, I've been playing 90s, early 2000s rock, just to like fit the car vibe.
I know. Remember I sing
Isn't that
in the
weird?
car?
You ever like put yourself in a music video? You're like, yep, this is me and my Miata.
Dude, that Miata's awesome. Oh, for everybody who doesn't know what he's talking about, After Hours channel.
Yeah, After Hours. Well, if they don't know now,
They know. They don't know now. Not everybody knows.
No, they don't. I actually have to officially announce a separate video, post a separate video in studio about that, just because I haven't done that yet. I did the announcements everywhere and whatnot, but I didn't do that yet. Lisa, I was gonna go to locals. Everyone hit that. Did you see this? You saw this today, right?
Oh my God, this fool.
Did you see this collapse? This is the worst one so far. But is this not his? It's like he has a. What's the word? He has like a quarterly.
A quarterly collapse, a quarterly fall, a quarterly trip. I mean,
he like has to though. It's almost like it's just every quarter there's a big one.
They were tearing Trump apart when he was holding onto the railing not to slip in his leather shoes down a wet ramp, and when he was drinking water with two hands. He was criticized everywhere because he didn't want to spill water on his silk tie. Right now, you have our president collapsing all the time, speaking to himself, not knowing where he is, not knowing how to salute. The guy is legit. I said this to his campaign people during his campaign. What you are doing to this man is actually criminal. Well, like he needs to be in a mental home or in a care home, a care facility, because he is not with us. And
I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna play this video just in case there's a few people that didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. It's
all right,
insane.
Breaking: Biden takes a big fall on stage just now at the U.S. Air Force Academy graduation.
National embarrassment.
Did the cheers go up when he was?
I think they kind of went like down like a shock thing.
They were like, "Oh!" That's basically what happened. Okay, that is like you were getting at. This is third, fourth, whatever bad fall of his presidency. First term. We're not even talking about like a two-term president. Right? First term, all of these falls, and it really, I saw a tweet earlier today. There's two options, right? It's one of two options. It's that he is physically and mentally fit, and there's nothing wrong with him. There's no cognitive decline. He's perfect, and that's your stance. and therefore this is funny. Now, option 2 is he's a geriatric, 80-year-old dude, mental decline. If that's the case, if we're accepting that reality, this is sad, because seeing an old man collapsing like that's experiencing this mental decline, all of that should be, like you were saying, Lisa, in a home, that's sad. Okay, that's awful. That's sad. That's depressing. Whatever.
It's scary.
It can't be both. It's one of those two options.
It's more than it's sad. Yes, I would go with the sad option, but it's scary. It's scary because our entire world sees that. This is the person that is supposed to be the leader of our country. And even if he is not cognitively impaired, which he clearly is, right? To have him as a weak, fumbling, falling nightmare is what is shown to the outside world, and it makes us look weak and pathetic, and it really does hamper how we interact on the world stage.
Damn it.
It's an embarrassment. It's an absolute embarrassment.
Yeah, it's
I'm mad at
it's bad.
I'm mad at his wife. I'm mad at Democrats. I'm mad at anybody that's around him. And you know what's really funny? We had every single leak coming out of the Trump White House. I mean, he couldn't sneeze without there being a leak, and nobody says anything about how he behaves in here. I mean, it was his own press secretary says, "Oh, he doesn't even get up before 9 o'clock. You should consider yourself lucky," after one of the kid shootings that he was coming to address them that early in the morning. Like, we know this man doesn't put in the hours. He's hardly there. Who's really running our country? Because it's clearly not that buffoon.
Yeah, it is airtight when it comes to his administration. There are no people surrounding this guy on off hours that are going to leak. And like you just said, it seemed as though every other day there would be someone blowing the whistle in Trump's White House, and it would be about stuff that didn't really matter, but they would just report it anyways. They would throw it to the New York Times, they would throw it to Washington Post, whatever it may be. It's so crazy how ingrained in our society, not only our institutions, but every aspect of our lives, these foot soldiers are that are working for the other team in tech. Even after Elon Musk gets rid of 80% of the employees at Twitter, there's still people there waiting, ready to sabotage. I mean, it's almost like it's the most mind-blowing thing, and I think their ideology just kind of is really dependent on that. It really is, because I don't think you see conservatives doing that for a reason, and it's just because it's not in their list of priorities of things to be doing. They're not working at the higher ups of targets and saying, "Here's my time to shine." Whereas a leftist that wants to spread that ideology would.
They've been planning this for years. I mean, it is honestly, if you go look at like communist writings from the 60s, from the 50s and 60s, I mean, their plan was to infiltrate higher academic institutions and institutions of government and slowly erode it over time. They've admitted to that. Like, if you read some of these teacher ones too, it's like really bad. But yeah, like they are the long game plans. Like, look at the Solinsky's rules for radicals. I mean, they have, they don't care, and they will use people, and they will, like Biden, because I feel like Biden's being used.
Oh,
I mean, he's
110% being used. 110%.
And they're okay.
You don't walk around like this. You don't do this. Doesn't happen every other, quarter. And you just be totally. He's obviously not sharp. He's obviously on a decline, and there are obviously people calling the shots.
I don't feel bad for him, though. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't feel bad for him. He has been a corrupt politician since he started back in his young days. Like, he is an evil person. And so I guess he gets to be used and embarrassed, and that's what he has coming to him. So don't think for a second that I feel bad.
I think he's gladly in that position, actually. I mean, I think he's aware enough to where he's like, I know I'm on a decline, but use me and abuse me as a spearhead for your ideology.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't feel bad for him. Like, I do think it's sad that this is like old man. It's sad for the American people. It's certainly not sad for Biden.
The concept of it is sad. Like what's happening is sad. And you can say that even if you believe that he is a corrupt politician that is just a bad person. Like you can still say that an old person being abused like that is just a sad sight. You can still say that. Hey, question. Did you bring up you brought up the Trump ramp or no?
Yes.
You brought that up. Okay, because it's funny. I actually pulled a couple bits up about that. We'll wrap it up after that, but I just pulled up a couple bits because if you type it in, Trump walks down a ramp slowly. First of all, I'm not exaggerating. This was a story this was talked about for weeks, but it was a big story for about a week. And I remember this specifically because I was like, this is going to be so ridiculous when I look back at how they treated Trump versus somebody else. And right here, I just have a couple of quick examples. CGTN YouTube channel. Posted 2 years ago, 40-second clip, 1 million views on this. Now, when Trump was asked about him walking down that slowly, he said he was wearing if I remember correctly, I'm going off memory here. He was wearing dress shoes, okay? And it was a little bit damp out because maybe it was dewy or whatever. And so he was saying, I'm going to go down this slowly because the media will go bonkers if he falls. Pretty reasonable. I would actually do the same thing. But the craziest part is he didn't even need to fall. He just needed to be careful, and they lost their minds. And look at this, Lisa. New York Times. Trump's halting walk down ramp raises new health questions. Washington Post. I didn't pay for this, so it's trying to get me to pay. Trump tries to explain his slow and unsteady walk down a ramp at West Point. Trump tries to explain it. Why not just Trump explains it? Nothing happened.
Why were you even writing about it? Nothing happened. But guess what? This won't be anywhere. I mean, this will be, if it's even covered out of the news cycle, it's only Republican places that will do it and social media, and then it'll be gone.
Yep. Yep, and that is so. When you look at the little things of how the media has responded to Biden, how politicians have responded to Biden, how corporations have responded to him, it's little things like that just every single day added to the temperature under Trump, to where I had friends in my own life that were just saying to me, "Man, I just want this all to be over." Right before the election, I just want this to be over. I just want it to stop.
And that's where everybody's stupid, honestly. So everybody's like, "Oh, I can't vote for Trump because it's going to be more of the same." Guess
I'm
what?
not saying that was the right move.
I know you.
I'm not saying that was the right move. I disagree with that strongly.
They're never.
But I understand it.
Whoever's next, they're going to keep doing it. They started with Romney and like Bush and whatever. Romney, it was like, oh, they're going to put you back in chains, and he's got a binder of women, right? And they've ramped it up. Now Trump, they had like way more leverage to ramp it up, but now they're doing it. They're going to do it with DeSantis, and they're going to go harder and harder. It's never going to go away. So people think that, oh, it's going to go away if we just have an electable person in there. They're going to do exactly what they did to Trump, and all the people will consider DeSantis and anybody else as toxic as Trump was. Don't even.
Well, it's to beat you.
It's going to be different for you're an idiot if you think it's different.
You're totally right. And it's to beat you into submission into voting for Jeb Bush. You know what I mean? It's to get you to vote for that person that they say, we're not going to hassle you if this guy's in there. All right? Because if there's somebody in there that's actually doing something for the American people, doing something for you and combating our radical ideologies, we're going to raise hell. Yeah. And people experienced it, man. I mean, people got tired under Trump. They got tired, and I understand.
I'm tired now.
I get it.
I'm so
I'm
irritated.
exhausted.
I'm exhausted. What I'm really tired about is seeing the Trump and DeSantis influencer people fight constantly on Twitter. Like, it's all my feed is. And
I don't have any interest in that.
I have no interest in that. Like, and I don't care who you like or who you don't like. And the way that they are talking to each other and the way that this has become is like so cringe that after the primary, what are you guys going to do? It's already getting so like mucky and dirty and ugly that how are you guys going to come back from that and then rally behind the other guy? Like, you're not.
they're party splitting is what they're doing. They're doing damage to the party, and I don't think that they know that. A couple more super chats. I do want to say something related to what you were just saying that right there, Lisa. But for another one from Sith Lord Todd. Sith Lord Todd, thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. I really appreciate you doing this. This stuff means a lot. I know I get a lot of people saying, you guys need to go travel more and all that stuff. Well, it just so happens that traveling costs thousands of dollars. Now, thank God that the channel is getting to a spot where that's totally doable and it's becoming more doable. However, those are still expenses. It's obviously still expensive. Think about going on a vacation and staying in a hotel, and that's like how much it costs to travel to New York and stay somewhere over there. It's not cheap. We do our best to cut costs, obviously. I'm not popping bottles and stuff. Maybe I am. But no, we greatly appreciate the help, and thank you so much for the super chat. $5. Sadly, the left motto is by any means necessary. You know what? The right just needs to adopt it too. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Joseph C., thank you again for supporting the channel tonight. You as well, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. More videos with Lisa. Well, of course, we'll be doing more videos. Lisa, I'm playing around with getting maybe like an actual studio with a garage attachment for after hours and just try to get an in-person show going.
Yes, you should definitely do that.
That'd be serious, right? Let me know in the comments, you guys, if you would prefer seeing an in-person show. We could even do a test run next time I fly out east, Lisa. We could do a test run of actually doing an in-person segment, invited a guest or something. That'd be fun.
We almost did that from my house one time, remember?
We were going to. I think it was in the early stages of trying to figure out the live stream, and the live stream's, dude, it's so complicated. It's crazy. Maybe there's a more simple way to doing it than we are, but the way that we're doing it with getting people in and everything, it makes it incredibly complicated. Lisa, I wanted to bring up something.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep eating. I'm hungry.
Oh, I don't mind it at all. First things first, you guys. Locals community down in the description. Go join before you go to bed tonight. Behind the scenes content, all that great stuff. Also, discount codes on merch coming up. We're gonna be doing exclusive. I'm not gonna have like merch sticking around the whole year. I don't want merch sticking around the whole year. I'm gonna do like a week open and that's it. Move on. So we're gonna do very exclusive drops and it's gonna be very fun.
I will say that James Locals clips he does, like the outtakes, they're like one of my favorite things to do. Like so we've gone around and done videos. I have more fun doing them than the actual
videos.
They're
so much fun. I agree.
So they're even if they're just like 5-10 minutes. Yeah, I look terrible there because I always look terrible when I'm filming videos.
I'll pick a next one. Right there. It's good.
Okay, fine. But they're fun. Like they're fun little outtakes, and they're worth it to And James is really on top of his locals thing. So if you want to check them out, I think it's good bonus content for sure.
Absolutely. Lisa, last thing before we close out, I just want to say really quick, we're not going to dig into the whole thing, but I will say a reason why a lot of the just back and forth, but oh crap, I had to show the meme too. Okay, hold on. This is so funny. Did you see this? Dude, look at this for Pride Month. Okay, we've all seen this meme, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen that meme. Dude, they ended up doing the meme. The U.S. Navy, they ended up doing the meme for Pride Month.
Yo, did you go to my Instagram story
and see? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Funny. But did you go and see my Instagram story where it was like,
oh god,
Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan, and it's like she's just sitting there. It's like the classic ice picture, and then
yes.
That was the best Pride Month meme that I've seen.
I saw that.
Yes, the Navy, like I can't believe they used it, and that was very funny. But the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan one, probably my favorite so far of the memes. Guys, that's what you should do.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Drop memes on James's Twitter for your favorite Pride Month memes. Guys, it'd be so good. Wait. Did you see this one? Did you find it?
Yeah, I found it.
It's so good. Yes. Pride Month, normal people. That's exactly what I feel like.
You have to be above a certain age to get that one, though. The other one, Zoomers can get still.
Everybody knows. Okay, for you younger people who don't know, the one in the bad one that looks like white trash. Yeah, she hired somebody to break her competition's kneecaps. So that's the story.
And there's our strike.
That's an easy way to describe that, I guess.
Last bit. I know I keep saying this, but I keep the memes. Should we just start doing memes at the end of shows?
We should start doing some memes.
Okay, so the reason why the reason why I just am not very interested in the Trump versus DeSantis and all that bickering online. One, it's dividing the party. It's crushing people. Just we want to be united. We want to have a united front. We want to go in all out. But also, two, I think that the ballot harvesting, if that's not under control, nothing else matters. Look at what Turning Point Action, and huge shout out to Turning Point Action. Look at what they just announced. Breaking from Charlie Kirk. This is just announced earlier today. Turning Point Action pledges $5 million to Wisconsin ballot chasing efforts in collaboration with Scott Pressler. This is shortly following, and I mean by like weeks. This is shortly following Scott Pressler announcing on a podcast. He didn't even say it that he didn't even say it like just out loud looking for attention. This guy goes door to door in every major battleground state trying to get people to register to vote. One of the hardest working people in the industry, and he was saying how he receives $0 in funding from the GOP. You know, the DNC, they look for every opportunity to look at some kid making a TikTok. Oh, okay, let's try to get behind him. Let's try to promote him. Let's try to promote that message. The GOP has no interest in doing that. And when it comes to Scott Pressler, which is the number one person on the ground in the United States, Lisa, if you agree with me, let me know. The number one person on the ground in the United States that's getting people registered to vote in swing states. What is it doesn't get.
Have him on. Do you want me to ask him to come on? I should have him on. He would be a great guy to have on.
I'm friends with Scott. Friends. Okay. I mean, we're more acquaintances, but we're totally cool. Yeah, I would love to. We'll
no, he's just doing incredible work, and I think that like he's somebody who, by the way, he was like in New Jersey last week, and then he was like he was like all over the place, and nobody funds him. He does it out of his own.
Nobody funds him.
Everything, and so for when I saw the Turning Point Action did that, because a lot of people have been saying like, where's the RNC? Why isn't anybody funding Scott? He's like literally doing the Lord's work, and to see that just made my heart sing. I'm sure that he's going to be so happy about it.
Yeah, he's what he's doing, Lisa, is he's playing the left at their own game. He's seeing and many people have called this out. They looked at how the left what they did, because there's a million things that happened in 2020, and what they really dominated in was playing by a different voting game than Republicans. And in California, we only recently figured this out when it comes to the ballot harvesting and everything like that. They actually did that in California and dominated.
Yeah, it's legal there. I mean, they've been doing it there forever, but it's legal there. And the funny thing is, it's like there's portions of it that are legal a lot of other places. I don't know, in Pennsylvania, it's
right.
not.
And I don't know all the rules in every single state when it comes to that. But there's bits and pieces. Like you'll have ballot harvesting at the top, and then there's little sections below that are other strategies. And the GOP just really doesn't utilize any of that at all. Say what you will about 2020. Obviously, we're not going to say anything here, but say what you will about all of that. One thing that Republicans are absolutely not doing, and if Republicans actually want to perform, they need to be doing is everything under that umbrella. So
yeah, I agree.
So fantastic. You have Turning Point Action taking advantage and actually doing supporting some serious groundwork. So it's
a lot of money, and that will go a long way for door knocking and registering to people to vote. Like that will be money well spent. It's better, people have been running in campaigns. They've been doing a lot of mail-in pieces still. Like it costs for like 30,000 mailers. It costs like $20,000, right? Like it's mail-in pieces are a lot of money, and a lot of TV ads cost a lot of money. And who's like watching real TV and cable news anymore? No one. Radio ads cost a little less, but still, like, let's get people knocking on those doors and getting people registered. That's what's going to make an actual difference.
Scott Pressler remember the videos were coming out of showing him at gas stations, getting people registered to vote at gas stations. If you guys don't know how dedicated this guy is, that's literally what he does. He doesn't even make content. He just does this in his all day long. He does this all day long. He's not even filming it. So amazing stuff. Anyways, you guys, what's going on, chat? We're wrapping things up. How's everyone's night? It's a little bit late.
It's 12:30 here.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah,
that's a good time. It's a lot earlier here, I'll tell you that much. And I'm tired. I mean,
I just love you so much. It's fine.
I appreciate you hopping
I
on.
actually really like the chat. You know me. I would have been on a Twitter space anyway. So
yeah, you guys, make sure to go support Lisa. Her social media links are in the description on this live stream. Also, make sure you hit the live stream like button, all of that great stuff. I don't even know how to see how we can see likes on the stream.
206.
206 likes?
Yes.
Can we get this stream to 250 likes? You guys, 250 likes. We're at 206. 50 people, hit it, please. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. 12. Sith Lord Todd says 12:30 here. Yeah, everyone's up late. I wonder if we're doing the stream too late or if we're fine. I think we're fine.
I think you're fine. It's me. I had like a really crazy day, a rough one. So I'm really, really tired. I think you were like, reminder. And I was like, oh, that's why I look like this today. But,
well, I don't know. Anything else? Chat, how we all doing tonight?
No, I love the chat though.
920 F5. You're West Coast, my man. West Coast is the best coast. Oh, what? Olivia just liked and subbed? Thank you.
That's awesome. I'm so tired. I hope I wasn't too boring or annoying tonight. It's pretty sure. Look at me, or fidgety with my hair because I hate it right now. Look at this. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, guys.
Oh my God.
I do always have a crazy day. Whoever said that, Joseph C. I do always have a crazy day. I have 2 little munchkins and a dog, and today I backed up a drain and probably cost myself $400 because I need a plumber. So
yeah, wait, that's actually, Joseph's so right about that though. You always, I've had the craziest day. First, this dog chased me down the street. Then I beat up some mugger in the street. Then this happened. I'm just like, dude, what? You have more action in your day than I do in my week.
It's not even like a lot. I must thrive on chaos or something. But yeah, I really did. I thought that I could get away with like putting dirt from a bucket down a drain. It clogged the drain, and the drain is cemented in, and now I got to get a plumber to come.
Yeah, that's just you. That's just you being female, though.
Yeah, right. It's me being a woman and thinking stupid stuff. Yeah.
So that's okay.
My fault.
Yeah.
But it was a lot, and I was like mucking water out of my own backyard all day.
I think some of it has to do with Philly as well. Just Philly's just a little bit more chaos. I don't have as much chaos around me, you know.
No, it's beautiful where you are.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys.
Not for letting the Dems ruin it. So
yeah, they will. They will. Yeah. Some people are white pilled about California. I know there's a couple of people from California in the chat. I am. It depends on the day. It depends on the day. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm white pilled about California. I think I could be. I'm. It really goes day by day, because a lot of LA politicians are making their way into Orange County, and so they're just starting with Whittier and all the border kind of cities and everything. And I don't know. We'll see. Voices. The mirror demons won't stop. Bro, Kim.
I like that. I don't know what it means.
Kim Il Sung posting some absolutely unhinged comments, and is it? You don't know that verse, do you? Bro, Kim Il Sung, you gotta see someone for that, man. I can't help you with that. Lisa's a babe. Look at that, Lisa.
Let's go. Nobody says that. I appreciate you guys.
What is white pilled? White pilled is believing that
I'm not white pilled.
Taking the white pill is like there is hope, and then black pill is straight doomer. It's all over.
That's me.
So no, we keep it white pilled on the channel, I think.
That's why you're my friend. You keep me white pilled. You
okay?
James is like my personal Xanax. I'll be having a bad day and I'll call him up and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm fine. Nothing. I'm not worried about anything. Yeah.
Sith Lord Todd. I've been to Florida. I love it. I think there's amazing people in Florida. Yeah, Florida's fantastic. I'll probably, I don't know.
I
if
don't
I'll be
like
there
Florida.
soon. You know, I mean, it's like hard
I like
not
the
to like
people in Florida.
Florida.
I don't like Florida. It's very humid, especially in summer. There's all kinds of lizards,
But
and
you
they
go in the
always shut
water.
down.
That's what they have the beach there. Everyone just
They
goes.
have lizards everywhere you go. Every time you walk into somebody's house or up the thing, they get the little screened-in porches because the lizards are jumping on you.
First
Like,
of all,
ew.
lizards are awesome.
Okay, but I don't want them. I was just there 2 weekends ago. I go and lay on the thing, and a lizard falls from the thing on my head.
What?
No. Yes, a little one.
Oh,
A new-
that's so cool.
It was not cool.
You don't
trust me.
even have to catch it. They fall on you.
It's gross.
Base
I
red
just
pilled Chad.
too hot and too many annoying people. I would never move. You couldn't pay me to move to Florida. I mean, like I like all the laws and just what this ass is doing and all, but you couldn't pay me to move to Florida. I mean that. You never heard me say I want to move to Florida.
Yeah, I
ever.
mean, I don't know. Florida's great. I don't know. Yeah, Florida's great. I don't know where else I would move. I'm trying to figure that out actually.
Idaho. Okay, so the place I want to move.
Idaho's
Idaho.
this gorgeous place. You ever been to what is it?
Montana.
Sun Valley?
Idaho.
Sun Valley in Idaho?
Idaho.
What is that called? There's some gorgeous places in Idaho. Hold on, I saw a comment that I wanted to.
Plus, they're like one of the top 5 the places most friendly to Republicans. So
Lisa, Sith Lord Todd, lizards eat all the insects. See, so they're not just falling on your head. It was probably saving you from an insect.
there's
So
still insects.
you're just
there's
you're
still
just really being
iguanas,
ungrateful.
there's breathing. There's no, I don't no. It's too humid, and my hair is always so frizzy and gross. There, like always. No,
Also,
I hate Florida.
Someone said, Joseph said, would you guys ever visit Liverpool? 100% I
First of
would.
all, I spent a good time in running a campaign in England and a couple other things in England, and I
Oh, yeah,
love
you
it.
did.
I want to go back to England as much as possible. I was almost traveling there like twice a month for a while, but I love it. I like Liverpool. I was all over England, but I love it there.
Yeah, I would 100% go there.
We
That'd be
need
so
to
much
take
fun.
a trip there anyway.
We do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You come with me.
Yeah, I would love to go. I would love to go film over there. I think that would be a lot of fun because I mean, Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong, but people are pretty knowledgeable about American politics over there. So that'd be a lot of fun too. So even if we needed to bring up something along the lines of American, politics for a video, street video, interview video, that would probably work pretty well, actually. So that'd be super awesome. That'd be really cool. Someone said baby dinosaurs about the lizards. Totally agree. Another W for the lizards. How about Australia? I would go there too. I would love
Let's
to go
talk
to
about
Australia.
bugs and things that kill you there. But I have a good amount of friends in Australia now, for sure. But
Yeah.
Avi,
Yeah.
but it's too long of a flight for right now, and they're too woke and crazy. I'd rather go to England and Scotland and Ireland and Poland. Poland's based. Do you know, guys? Just for fun fact, because this is really awesome. Do you know that Poland, like a couple of years ago, made a declaration like that everybody signed, like their government, that who is the king of Poland, James? Who's the king of Poland? Just guess who the king of Poland is. Just guess.
I don't know. Who?
Jesus Christ. They literally made Jesus Christ king of Poland officially. If you look it up, Jesus Christ is the king of Poland. I'm kidding. Google it.
Poland. Okay, so Poland is just incredibly based.
Yes.
Also, I'm gonna throw this one in there. This might be a little bit out of left field, but Iceland. I would love to go to Iceland. Super random, but it's gorgeous.
I'll go with you.
Would love to go.
We go horseback. If we can go horseback riding, they have Icelandic horses. We can do that.
Icelandic horses, huh?
Mhm.
Someone said, "Why is Lisa so angry inside? Why are you commenting weird crap?"
No, I am. Is I'm from Philadelphia.
She's not
Doesn't-
angry inside.
Is that enough? I'm
How
from.
dare
I'm-
you? I was
and
trying to
I'm-
defend
and I'm
you.
Polish.
I was trying to defend you, and then
I love
now you embraced it. Now I just look like the bad guy. So I'm sorry about Sir Westo.
Well, I mean, people think you did the right thing there.
But
I'm kinda-
I also kind of agree.
You also know me. You know I'm not really angry inside. That I'm really nice. I'm just what do you call it? What is that
I thought
called?
they were trying to be mean to you, which they probably weren't. They're probably just joking. So.
No, they probably were trying to be mean to me.
Went right
But I'm
over my
okay.
head.
You're right.
No, it's
anyway.
not a date between us. Lisa's my best friend. That's how do you say this?
People
Best friend
always
that's a
say
female, huh? People always say that. Yeah, we've
People
always
say that.
we've been good friends for a long time now.
We're like more like brother and sister than anything, honestly.
Yeah, I would say so. If you need any graphics, illustrations for your channel, James, please hit me up. Joseph, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll connect here in the near future for sure. James, you should do a video in Florida. There are very left areas and very right areas would make a good video. Yeah, absolutely. I'm super interested in that aspect. Some people will say, "Oh, come to a conservative place and talk to them here," and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. We can do that. We've done that, but really the best is getting the contrast, getting Huntington Beach, California, Laguna Beach, California. But like maybe even if we could find a more red version of Huntington Beach, it's always fun finding that contrast. Friend zones. I'm not. Yeah, sure. Friend zones.
It's not
I'll
even
embrace
like
that.
that.
Why not? Yeah,
I was gonna say, I was like, I'm the best wing woman ever. So like,
yeah, Lisa's gonna help me find my future
Correct.
girlfriend. That's our relationship.
yes, very much so.
But
It's not even like that. It's like I'm helping him.
oh, for sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
How
How about you, Hope? Are you single? Who's Hope?
No, he's talking to a girl in the chat. A girl Hope in the chat. He's talking to a girl Hope in the chat.
Hope M. Okay, got it. Pretty advanced. Lisa.
What?
I don't know. Let's end the stream. You guys,
Dude,
this
I
is-
love everybody in the chat. You guys are you rock.
there's so much fun. Hey, chat, you guys, just know that you all rock, and we appreciate you being here, enjoying a stream, hanging out. I hope everyone is enjoying just the more casual streams. I with the editing of the street videos and all the other stuff that I'm working on throughout the day, and trying to ramp up, trying to do more in studio segments daily on the channel. It's too much for an official like news host stream at the end of the day, and I don't even want to do that. So I think this is a lot of fun.
We just need to do them regularly, or you need to do them regularly, and I will.
I do, and I'm working on that.
Jump in and have fun with you and take advantage of your YouTube channel.
Yes, I'm working on that. You guys, the goal is Tuesday and Thursday nights at 7. I'm gonna see. We might just do once a week, because really the biggest goal is to make sure that I'm giving everybody the most content possible. So whatever I can manage, whatever I can handle, I will. I'll do my very best. I'm doing like minimum 12-hour days right now, and I'm trying to fit everything in those hours, I guess. So anyways, you guys, I appreciate you tuning into the stream. I hope everyone had a lot of fun. That's Fresh 26 interrupting my outro, man.
That was awesome.
I appreciate the super chat. That's Fresh 26. I'm not letting you end it. Keep going.
That was a really good super chat. I'm just gonna say that was smart. I love it.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. So how,
right.
Olivia? We're trying to do. By
We
the way,
were doing it in 2 weeks for a while. I mean, twice a week for a while. But then James decided to skip a month.
no,
and then
it's
another-
because
You were
I
terrible.
left town, and then the footage that I had to go through was like hours and hours and hours of footage. It just took me too long to edit, so I had to skip. I had to. But you guys, the goal is consistency. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Keep the pressure on me. Put it in the comments. If you see us skip a stream, put the pressure on me, please. It actually helps. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. That's Fresh 26. We are wrapping up, and you can't stop it. Thank you all for watching.
You got another one.
Sith Lord Todd says $2. We want more. You guys, more on Tuesday. Hold me accountable for live streams. Please do that. I honestly, I'm asking that seriously. But thank you guys so much. Joseph C, $2 super chat. Where do you think you're going? Sleep? That's for the weak.
Sleep deprived.
Oh my gosh. He's right. Sleep is for the weak. But you guys, we gotta wrap it up. So Lisa,
I gotta keep eating chocolate, so I don't want to chew on camera. So you gotta let me go.
Lisa, thank you for joining me tonight. Team, everybody, thank you guys. Really appreciate you all. And we will catch you in the next stream. See you later.
Good night. Give me my chocolate.